Hey guys, you're very welcome to join us for season beta of the Roborace Championship, the world's only all-electric, fully autonomous racing series. I'm Matt Roberts, and I'm really happy to be joined for the first time by my co-host live in Las Vegas. We're actually on site this week with Corey Yarkin. Barkin Yarkin, she told me she was caught before at high school. How's it going, Barkin?
Hi, how are you guys? Matt, I'm so excited to be here. And yes, you guys, if you want to know how to pronounce my last name, it rhymes with Barkin. So Corey Barkin Yarkin. But you can just call me Corey Yarkin. Does that work for you?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, so I'm super pumped to be. You must be super pumped to be trackside, Corey. Normally you're courtside, aren't you? At an NBA game, at NFL. So looking at you, a totally different experience, I guess, in Roborace for the first.
Yeah, I mean, typically I work for the NBA and I do some NFL stuff as well. So this is drastically different. Super-sized human beings have now been replaced by superhuman cars, and I'm on day 2 with Roborace, and it's been a lot of fun and super interesting. So I'm just stoked to be here.
Well, we're really stoked as well to have you with us, Corey. And everybody watching too. You join us at the Las Vegas, well, you join Corey at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm at home still trapped here, but it's round 8 of the season beta championship. I know, we'll get out there soon. But look, round 7 happened yesterday. We had some broadcast issues here, which meant that we couldn't show you guys at home the action live. But Corey, you were at the track. What was it like?
Yeah, I mean, the morning was a little hectic because we didn't really know what was going on, and they weren't sure really what to do because we'd already pushed the race a day, as you know. So in the end, they decided to get the race at least going, and then maybe we'd figure out the broadcast. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But you know, we rolled with the punches and did whatever we could to bring everyone what was going on Instagram Live. So that was a bit of fun. But yeah, all sorts of things went down yesterday. It was a great first day for me, for sure. A lot of fun.
Trackside, obviously there's only one car, so you can't see which teams are going out at which point, and also the teams are all over the world, aren't they? But actually the action on track was red hot, and there was some drama. And for people who've been following Roborace so far this season, the big news really was that Arrival Racing, who are one of the top teams this year, expected to fight for the championship, fresh off their DNF in round 6. That happened again yesterday as well, and it gave an opportunity to Acronis SIT to extend their lead at the top of the championship with what was an absolutely sensational victory. And we're going to come hopefully to the boss very shortly, but I just want to tell you as well about a really impressive performance from our new team in Roborace season beta, PoliMOVE from the Polytechnic of Milan. They've joined this weekend to replace CMU, and they were sensational. They went faster than their Italian rivals, Team Pisa. They put a really solid run together. There was some that went on as well, which we'll come to a little bit later on. But hopefully we can now be joined by the boss at Acronis SIT, Ilya Shimchik, who we were unable to speak to yesterday because, frankly, I'm a complete technophobe and I couldn't work Instagram Live properly. But here he is. We're back in the safe hands of our technicians. And Ilya, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on a really sensational victory yesterday. The actual lap times compared to a few weeks ago at the same track were much quicker, weren't they? Obviously, you went with a more aggressive strategy, I guess.
Congratulations. So yeah, actually there was the same issue during the test, so we are not quite confident how our car will behave. So if you remember that during the past run I mentioned that we have some strange issue, mysterious issue that happening only on the car but not happening in simulator, and we faced this issue again during the previous test, and actually we were not so confident in our software before the run, so we are happy that we have such opportunity to show good results yesterday, and I think it was a very strong run, and we are happy to show this.
It was only ARG who was second fastest. They only picked up 2 obstacles, actually, so there was only a minute that was down to penalties. The rest of the minute was the car on track. I mean, you were quick.
Actually, there is like a strategy. I mean, I think it's still good strategy now to be on the safe side, because the penalty for hitting the object is very high, and to be on a safe mode and just to follow obstacles or maybe avoid in a safer manner. So yeah, I think it's a good strategy, and luckily I believe we found the balance between safe strategy and between some taking the risks of overtaking. So yesterday we show quite good overtaking of different obstacles, like moving obstacles and mistake obstacle, and also we collected quite good number of collectibles. And I believe due to this balance, overall it's a quite good result.
Really glad to chat to you finally. Congrats once again, but I know your focus now is going to be on today's performance, so we'll leave you to it and wish you the best of luck. Okay, well, we can take a look now at what the rest of season beta has in store for us in 2021. We're beyond the halfway scheduled. As you can see, this is mission 3.1, which I can explain to you later. That you can blame the geeks for that one. But mission 4 is going to be on the 20th to the 21st of April. So just 3 weeks to wait now until mission 4. And then the following months, mid-June, mid-July for missions 5 and 6, late August for mission 7. And then this season beta championship will wrap up from the 6th to the 7th of October. And of course, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, now very much the home for Roborace season beta, and we look forward to the first official season then starting for Roborace on the back of that news to follow as we get it. And after the halfway stage, then this is how it looks in our championship, with round 8 still to play out today. Just a reminder of how the actual points work for you. It's 500 points just for getting your car on the start line, which is a feat in itself. And then the top 2 teams in each day's rankings get 800 points for a win and 700 points for second place. So back-to-back wins for Acronis SIT. That means they now lead by 600 points. And the battle is on now between Arrival Racing and Team ARG, who could move into second overall with a repeat of yesterday's excellent result. Team ARG coming through to second yesterday, building on third in round 5 and second in round 6. So the competition is certainly hotting up there, Corey, in the chair. And as I just mentioned earlier, around for round 7, Team PoliMOVE, see there on the championship, they're on the board already. They put together a solid run yesterday.
It was exciting to see them for the first time. This new team from Italy, everyone was really excited because of how fast they can go, and they did that. So it's going to be cool to see how they progress in this championship. They're from Politecnico Milan, Italy's largest school of architecture, design, and engineering. So they got the brains. Let's see if they can put it to the test.
A few rounds, we saw all of the teams. In the rounds that we had here in the UK at Thruxton and Bedford before they came out to you guys there in Las Vegas, even the top teams struggled to get the car off the line those first couple of rounds. So for PoliMOVE to come in straight off the bat and register the laps that they did yesterday was super impressive. So really looking forward to seeing what they can bring as the season progresses.
Absolutely. It'll be an exciting one. So, what do you say we take a look at all the teams competing in round 8 today? Sound good?
Sounds good to me. Okay. Well, from the UK, Arrival Racing have had some bad luck recently, failing to in rounds 6 and 7, which are surely going to hurt their championship title fight. The University of Pisa, arguably the most aggressive AI driver on the grid, always entertaining, likes to slide up in the corners with its brakes locked up. Let's see what they can do today. From back in Austria, Team ARG are on a roll, finishing 3rd place in round 5 and second in round 6 and 7. If that progress continues, surely it won't be long before they take an outright win. And from Switzerland, Acronis SIT Autonomous, currently first in the championship, and they set that blistering lap time yesterday. But with the rival and ARG so close behind, now want to keep that winning streak going today. And from the United States, MIT Driverless have seemingly nailed the metaverse, hitting only one obstacle in round 7 and finishing in 3rd place. And our new team from Italy, PoliMOVE, they got off to a great start yesterday in round 7, so it's exciting to see what they can do today in round 8. So those are our teams then, and not long now until the first of them takes to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So here they are. This is Team Pisa.
The 10-strong team from the University of Pisa's Research Center are pushing hard to be a serious contender this year. Team Pisa debuted at the 2017 Formula E Berlin E-Prix in the Human plus Machine Challenge, putting in competitive times and trailed the Technical University Munich by just 4 seconds. They were back in Season Alpha for the Localization Challenge at Zalazone, but also missed the top spot by a matter of seconds. So far in Season Beta, Team Pisa have been steadily gaining experience, improving both speed and reliability. Are they now?
Yeah, I'm not seeing VTs. I can see our feed, but I can't see VTs. Okay, so that's Team PZN. And we're joined right now by the team principal, Danilo Caporale. Danilo, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an interesting season for you guys, hasn't it? I know how hard you've been working. And you picked up a 3rd place last time out in round 6. How would you describe the championship so far, please?
Hi, Matt. So everything is going well. We're doing progress so far. Sorry, I think there's lag. So anyway, yeah, everything is going well so far. We're happy with the progress. We are improving our performance, and yeah, we aim to be a serious competitor for the top position. Yeah, so far we're happy. So let's hope we keep improving steadily.
And so far this week, Danilo, yesterday in round 7, actually the car was really fast. Your lap time was quick, but you were hitting quite a lot of metaverse obstacles, 14 in total. Is that the metaverse proving the biggest challenge for you so far?
No, we are at the point where we're tuning our algorithms, and we had some issues during tests coming up to the race, and this we're not quite happy with the performance. So we're trying to do basically this work during the tests during the races. Sorry. So yeah, we expect some improvements, but unfortunately a bit slower than we wanted to be. But I think we will fix our issues in the coming races as well. So I'm optimistic.
Okay. Looking forward to that, Danilo. And I have to say as well, this week you're joined by another Italian team. Do you know the guys at PoliMOVE? They were impressive yesterday, weren't they?
Yeah, great performance. I know the guys very well, actually. So I'm happy for them, and I'm sure they will bring, a good amount of competition to the team. And I think it's good for Roborace in general. So I'm very happy that they have joined Season Beta.
Okay, we're happy too. Thank you for joining us, Danilo. We'll let you get back to it, and we'll speak to you later.
Thank you. See you soon. Ciao.
Did you see that on the screen? The video.
Okay, well, it looks like already there's an issue out there on track for Team Pisa. So this would be surely the perfect opportunity now to bring our race
way too fast.
Andy McEwen. Andy, what's going on?
That's right. You can't do that on the first corner of the first lap. Yeah. Yeah, close to that, 1.2, 1.3 close directions. So we'll bring the cut. Yeah. But I don't know if you want to look at having a slightly kind of reduced target on your first lap, just to let things warm up a little bit. Car should be back in the box in about 30 seconds, so you can connect it.
Shall I go now? Sorry. Well, welcome back to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, everyone. Our apologies, we are still fighting one or two technical issues out in the desert. And we're not the only ones either, because Team Pisa, as you might have seen, have run into a couple of dramas themselves in their 2 attempts at trying to get their laps in here at Las Vegas. They've been unsuccessful on both occasions. They spun off on the first corner of their first attempted run. They restarted, and I think they possibly spun again because when we did see some clips of the car, it was stationary half off the road and I think pointing the wrong way. So it looks like Team Pisa are continuing really to struggle, which has sort of become the theme of their season. They had some issues yesterday in round 7 where again their first run was aborted. And although they did then complete their second attempt, they managed just 21 of those collectibles. So they're really not scoring all that highly out of the metaverse. They had 14 obstacles. That's 7 minutes worth of penalties yesterday. Their top speed was only 115 kilometers an hour. That was 40 kph slower than the fastest teams. So clearly, Team Pisa are starting to realise, I think, just how difficult this is. And as other teams are taking a step forward, so Team Pisa seem to be staying more or less where they are. But that's not to say that they won't be able to find solutions to these problems. And hopefully, when we're back here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the next round, they might just be able to get out there and possibly score their first podium result of the season so far. Of course, there's some added tension now for Team Pisa because they're no longer the only Italian team in Roborace, because the really welcome addition to the championship of Team PoliMOVE mean that Pisa now have the Milan-based team to contend with as well. We really enjoyed in the first few rounds, didn't we, that rivalry between MIT and the Carnegie Mellon University, our 2 American teams. With the unfortunate departure of CMU from season beta, we've been sort of looking for another one of these rivalries, and it comes from Italy, as it turns out. Pisa versus PoliMOVE. It's going to be a really fascinating scrap, and it's already 1-0 to PoliMOVE, isn't it? They managed to get through yesterday quite a bit quicker than Team Pisa. Yesterday's event being won by Acronis SIT, though, and they'll be looking for their 3rd straight victory. They're due on track a little bit later on in the morning. As you can see, weather pretty much perfect out there at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway at the moment. We certainly didn't enjoy the perfect weather a month or so ago when we were last at the track, with wind and sandstorms at one point or another causing delays, but fingers crossed for a clean and successful day out there today. As you can see, the safety driver is getting back into the car now. One thing I'm not sure on is how much of Team Pisa's time is left, although after 2 aborted runs, I think it matters little, and in fact the driver getting out anyway. So yeah, I think that is the last that we will see of Team Pisa's AI software for this event, and it's going to go down as another, not a non-score, because remember they scored 500 points just for getting out onto the grid, but which they did manage. They just don't manage, unfortunately, score any points from mission 3.1. I heard Matt talking about mission 3.1, and he said, blame the nerds for that. Well, the reason that it's called mission 3.1, those of you who have been following the season beta of Roborace will know that last time it was mission 3. You'd expect, logically, this one to be mission 4, but the idea behind the mission name system, as far as I understand it, is that the metaverse is supposed to change and develop and get harder and harder with each round, with each mission. Therefore, the missions get harder as you progress, a bit like a video game, for example. And unfortunately, they weren't quite able to bring the latest raft of changes to the metaverse for this round, hence why it's only 3.1, but we're hoping next time we will get all of the new metaverse goodies. There have still been a few little tweaks to the metaverse, though, and that's all very exciting, making things harder for the teams out on circuit. Still, each bonus obstacle is worth, bonus object, I should say, is worth 2 seconds. So for every object that they hit, 2 seconds are knocked off their time. But if they hit an obstacle, then that is 30 seconds added. That's why I said that those 14 obstacles that Team Pisa hit yesterday added a full 7 minutes onto their time. I don't think their clear time was 7 minutes, so it pretty much doubled their total time. So that part of it has stayed the same. There is the points table, by the way, before I get into more detail on the metaverse. So Acronis SIT with that win yesterday and the fact that Arrival Racing didn't score any or didn't finish, so they get their 500 grid points, but they don't get any points for actually finishing inside the top 2 positions. It means that Acronis SIT Autonomous now have a 600-point lead. As you can see, lots of points on offer every time, 500 for gridding up, plus those 300 if you can win, mean that in theory, Arrival could take the championship lead back again today, but that would take a bit of a disaster for SIT. Arrival sit in second, and the real interest is going to be whether or not they can hang on to that second place, because Autonomous Racing Graz are only 200 points behind them now. ARG was second yesterday, and so they're really starting to breathe down the neck now of the pre-season favourites, arguably, Arrival Racing. Then joint fourth are MIT Driverless and University of Pisa. Well, we know that Pisa are not going to score any podium points today, so that's an opportunity for MIT to build a bit of an advantage. And we could see PoliMOVE move out of last place as well. If they have a successful run today, they should, at the very least, equal Carnegie Mellon University. And if they can get in the top 2, which is not beyond the realms of possibility, they could even move ahead of them. So all still to play for then. We're looking forward to getting our next team on track in the very, very near future. Don't go anywhere.
Well, next out on track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway will be MIT Driverless, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined now by Jorge Castillo from the team. Jorge, thank you for joining us. I hope you can hear me there. Good to see you again. How are you doing, my friend, and how are things going for you guys out in Las Vegas?
Going well. Well, we're super happy and encouraged by the results we achieved yesterday. It was our first time being in the top 3. That was I guess a short-term goal that we had. I think our performance was great. We were, I guess, one obstacle or a few seconds away from second place. So very, very proud of the work that we have accomplished and of our accomplishments today. And we're very excited about pushing our performance even more going forward. Yeah,
is this a big breakthrough then for you, Jorge? Because for me, that was the kind of standout news really yesterday, was just the one obstacle. Obviously, you had the speed as well, which you've seen before. You can talk about the spline racer now. This what's into fruition.
Yeah, it was a big milestone. It is a big milestone for us to be third. It was something that we were working towards. We still have a lot of things that we know we need to improve on. Speed being one of them for sure. Spline Racer is performing very well. We do need to still work on a few maneuvers that we think are a bit too conservative still in terms of overtaking and things like that. And so we have a few features already scoped and in development that will help Spline Racer be more aggressive, win more time, and the car go faster overall. So that's, I think, what's going to be our next step forward. That's going to hopefully take us to the top 2 and hopefully win one of these races. So we have a lot in store for the coming for our development going forward. But definitely yesterday was a big milestone, and we are more pumped than ever to continue pushing forward.
Well, the progress you've made recently has been so impressive, Jorge. Can we expect an improvement on third place today, though? I mean, anything can happen in Roborace. We've seen that already, but are you kind of secretly hoping maybe the top 2 is potentially there for you today?
Hopefully, yes. I mean, we would love for that to be the result. We also know the other teams are also super competitive. So we did work on some features overnight to improve our performance, but yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna see how we can do. Hopefully, we'll be on the top 3 again today. If not even better.
Well, fingers crossed for you. Thanks so much for joining us so close to your run, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, so Jorge Castillo and all the MIT Driverless team now will be crossing their fingers as they put this Spline Racer back on track. Really looking forward to seeing what happens. Let's get back to the racing.
Thanks, Matt. Looking forward to seeing how MIT get on. I think it's going to be a really important day for them. They had that real breakthrough yesterday with third place, and as Jorge was saying there, they only just missed out actually on getting an extra 200 points for finishing in second position because they were just 12 seconds in the end behind ARG, who came home second. MIT actually got more collectibles than ARG and one fewer obstacles, so in theory should have been able to beat the Autonomous Racing Graz squad. However, their clear time was 1.5 minutes slower. So as Jorge was saying there, they know now that their spline racer is allowing them to negotiate the metaverse well. What they're not able to do is run at the sort of speed that they need to really contend for the top two positions. You can get yourself a mid-table finish just by safely negotiating all of the obstacles, but to really challenge for victories, you need to apply that to a faster run. And we will hope that that is what they're able to do today. And we are now seeing some pictures of the track, and that is the MIT driverless car out on circuit on its first lap, I think, of the 5 that it has to negotiate. Now there is a mix of free laps and metaverse laps, same story as it's always been. I think laps 1, 3 and 5 are free laps, so the car just has to go as fast as it can, doesn't have to worry about any of these augmented reality movable objects to avoid. But now as it goes on to lap 2 and the same on lap 4, yep, there you can see the metaverse springs into life. Now I've got in some trouble in the past because I haven't been able to exactly identify what some of these obstacles are, but I'm sorry, I haven't got a hope in hell of telling you what that thing is. Whatever the thing is that's floating through the sky, anyway, MIT driverless have avoided it. They have, though, had one hit. Look, you can see in the top right-hand corner of the screen, that means that they have hit one obstacle, but the loot, which they have 3 of at the moment, they are the collectibles. Each one of those collectibles is worth 2 seconds off your time. Each hit, though, is 30 seconds added on. Now, yesterday, they only hit one obstacle in the entire 5-lap run, so they're already level with their penalty score from yesterday. And look at the way that the car is crawling along there. Now, is that an issue, or is it just trying to avoid the obstacles? I think because the obstacle is moving and it was blocking its path, the car has decided to sit and wait, and it's doing the same thing again now as it works its way up through the far end of the circuit, really crawling along. This was kind of what we saw yesterday from MIT, a very slow and steady and safe performance that ultimately bagged them 3rd place, but lacked maybe some of the outright speed and spectacular driving that we see from some of the other teams. More obstacles now to be negotiated on the run into the last corner. Let's see how it does. It managed to avoid that last set, but as you can see, the way that these things are moving around does make it a little bit harder, and the car is choosing, I think, here to just sit and follow it through the corner, weaving around now. It's really difficult to do this. I know it looks easy, but when you think that this is AI software that is making each and every one of these decisions, to us it looks as though the car can simply drive straight through the middle, but there are thousands of calculations being made every second here. And it's, yes, some more loot being collected there. That's good stuff. So they are making the right decisions at the moment as far as scoring well out of the metaverse. That is 7 collectibles that they have got. So 14 seconds will be added. And it looks like the metaverse is still in action now on lap number 3. So another chance to see how MIT are able to negotiate this. And they do collect a bit more loot there as they work through the first sequence of corners. It's worth mentioning there have been some changes to the metaverse for mission 3.1. I started to go through this earlier on. Although it's not the full development of the metaverse we were hoping to see this week, they have changed just subtly the way that it works. So it really now challenges the reaction time of the racing AI. Instead of revealing itself to the car 150 meters in advance, the metaverse items now only reveal themselves to the car 100 meters in advance. Doesn't sound like a big change, but that means, I'm reliably told by someone that can calculate it a lot better than I ever could, it gives the AI driver less than half a second now to react. So as you can see, the MIT car is reacting pretty well to these moving objects, but they're having to do so in a much shorter space of time than usual, and it's working pretty well here for the MIT driverless car, which is not slowing down anything like as much on this 3rd lap, is it? Carrying a lot more speed there into the hairpin. 18 of the, 20 now of the loot items have been collected, and still just the one obstacle. So that is a time save of 40 seconds and a time loss of 30 seconds. So they're back in the black now. They're gaining more time than they're losing. Oh, the car really had to slide around there going through the first few corners as that obstacle moved right into its way. so quick that the car has to make this decision as to how to best avoid the metaverse items. To put it into some sort of perspective, the average blink of a human eye is somewhere around 0.3 seconds. So we're not giving them much more time than the blink of an eye to decide how best to avoid these obstacles. So that's what 100 meters gives you, really next to nothing as far as reaction time goes. You can see that's why maybe we're seeing a slightly more tentative approach here for the MIT team, who again are choosing here just to follow those items through, and rather than try and go for a risky overtake, which again is quite useful data gathering here for maybe a real world application of autonomous driving, because these are the kind of decisions that autonomous cars would have to make on a daily basis, driving out on the highway, out on the roads, so having to negotiate other cars, traffic. Is it safe to overtake? Is it safe to go? Do we have to stop? That's the kind of thing that autonomous cars on the road will have to decide in the future. MIT at the moment doing a really good job of showing us just what this technology can do, because they're going to complete another lap now with no penalties. Oh no, they've just caught, just as I said that, coming off the last corner. I'm glad to see that the curse of the commentator translates into autonomous racing as well, because that's something I've always had quite a talent for, and MIT unfortunately feeling that pain now. So that's a second hit. That means a full 60 seconds now will be added onto their clear time at the end of the run, whilst 27 of those loot collectibles have been hit. At the bottom of your screen, you can see the graphics that give you those times. So the time, the clear time is going to be, I'm not sure which of those boxes is the clear time. I think it is the bottom of those two times, which is their clear time, but obviously at the end, Roborace will calculate exactly what the penalty is going to be. And at the moment, they are losing more time than they're gaining, but they've got one more lap now to try and up the ante, try and find a bit more performance. And look at this going on in front of them. How they're supposed to avoid all of this, I don't know, but they're doing it well at the moment. They're into the 30s now, as far as their collectibles are concerned. We're on the final lap now, so the home stretch for MIT Driverless. Is this going to be a good enough performance for them to break into that top two? That's the real question here, isn't it? They really want to be able to. Just looking at what their clear time was yesterday, it was 8 minutes and 42. 8 minutes and 42 seconds for the MIT Driverless team. And at the moment, it looks as though they're going to beat that, aren't they? Because we're not quite at 8 minutes yet as they come through the final hairpin now. The run towards the finish line begins. And they get another couple of collectibles as well. Just as they come out of the final turn, they break the timing beam. And the time is definitely quicker than yesterday. They're into the 7 minutes now. So whereas yesterday's clear time was 8 minutes 42, with a total time in the end, once they'd added on all of their reward time, of 7 minutes and 38. Well, they're pretty much down to that already before we start adding in all of the bonuses. So a solid run there for MIT. That could be a time that gets them their first ever top two position, but we'll have to wait and see. We still have 4 more teams to go, including our championship leaders, SIT. We've got a rival racing, Autonomous Racing Graz, and the long-awaited on-screen debut of the new team, PoliMOVE. They competed yesterday. We sadly weren't able to bring you their track time, but we should hopefully be able to follow their progress today and see if they maybe can challenge for the podium. So MIT then are done for the day, and we look forward to seeing exactly how that time stacks up against the rest. We know that they'll go into the early lead because they're the first team that has actually completed their 5 laps. But what their total result will be, we'll find out in a few minutes.
Well, there we go. That was MIT's run, and it was a good one as well. And we can confirm the results of that in just a second. As you can hear, the wind is really picking up over there in Vegas, and poor old Corey is on the roof there of the pit building. Corey, you look like you're about to be blown away. Are you okay?
I mean, they've taped me down to the roof, and I've got all sorts of straps on so I don't blow away, but I'm hanging in there. I'm literally hanging on. There's someone here holding it so this blow away. But no, it's a great view of the track, and that's what I'm here for. So a minute, 2 minutes.
All right. It's a little difficult to hear. I'm going to capsule. We're going to... oh, she's blown away. Oh dear, we've lost Corey. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse so far. We've had tech issues over the last 2 days, and now our presenter in Las Vegas has blown off the roof. Oh, right, never mind. Let me confirm for you in the meantime then, that run there from MIT Driverless. As Andy said in commentary, they're hoping that it's going to be good enough for a second place finish there. We'll find out. Their overall time, 7 minutes, 41 seconds, 0.10. They got 37 collectibles and 2 obstacles today, which is actually 1 more than yesterday. So having spoken to Jorge earlier on, I wonder just how I'll be feeling about that. I think you might be a little bit disappointed that they doubled up on the obstacles from yesterday, because if they hadn't done, that would have been a really, really competitive time. Remember, 30 seconds for the obstacles. So with 2 obstacles, that's added a minute onto their time, which would otherwise have been 6 minutes and 41 seconds. So I guess it falls to me now to speak to somebody from MIT Driverless. We're hoping that they can join us on the line. And yes, Nick, we've got Nick from MIT Driverless. Thank you very much
Hello.
for joining us, Nick. Yeah, you're not in Las Vegas, and it's probably for the best. I think it looks a little bit windy out there, so I think we're all probably better off at home at the moment. But how are you guys feeling after that one, Nick? I mean, that was a pretty solid run, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Solid is a good word. Every object we hit, we know why we hit it. We know exactly the line in the code. Sometimes you just run out of time. We're all students. We have to do research that is not related to autonomous vehicles. We have to do our classes. There's only so much time to fix issues. There was also controls issues today, so the car is our controller's having some trouble not breaking the car. Is doing some annoying things. We tried to do our best to fix that stuff overnight. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it. The changes we made the car too slow and also unreliable. So there's only so much you can do after classes at 12 a.m. before the race. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's important that we take that in and put that into context as well, Nick, isn't it? Because you guys are like a college football team playing in the NFL, really. You're playing against some really serious players in the world of artificial intelligence and automotive technology, aren't you? In like Acronis SIT and Arrival Racing. And the fact that you are so close to them right now, you've got to be proud of yourselves.
Oh yeah, no, we're totally proud. We're totally proud. The Spline Racer is doing some crazy stuff. We don't expect, like, none of us are racing drivers. Okay, maybe one person on the team is a racing driver, but really, it's solving a problem just with engineering, and then you see that it actually drives like a human sometimes, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and so you guys must be feeling real confident now about the next event, because obviously we're at the same track. There's, in terms of coding the AI, I guess, to deal with the physical dimensions of the circuit. Now you've had 4 rounds effectively to do that. So is it just a case now of ironing out your driver and picking out these little issues that you've already identified in the code?
Well, yeah. So we've only had 3 runs because of that drive shot failure in round 6, but still better than nothing. So we are. It's a tough balance. So we don't have that much time. We don't have that much person power. It's like very hard for us to coordinate. We only have so many members, and those members only have so much time. But it's a tough balance between making new features for solving the upcoming problems, such as ghost cars and multi-agent racing, because we have things down the pipeline for that, like game theoretic path planning and so on. But at the same time, that doesn't mean all that much when you have those small bugs we saw today, where one of the bugs we had was if a dynamic obstacle passes by a static obstacle, we're going to hit the static obstacle in an attempt to overtake the dynamic obstacle, which is, it's those little edge cases that aren't fundamental to your racing approach, but you still need to get right. Otherwise, you pay a big price, like those 30 seconds per obstacle.
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually. All right, well, thanks very much for that insight, Nick, and well done to you guys once again. You've had a really, really strong weekend. Whatever happens now with the results, fingers crossed things work out for you. Although the other teams might not want to hear me saying that, but I'm sure you'll be watching with interest. And good luck with everything. Good luck with your other studies as well that you need to get on with. Don't go missing your homework now for this racing job.
It's already done. Thanks very much.
What a student. Thanks, Nick.
Have a good day.
Okay, so the Roborace season beta chip has a new contender out in Las Vegas for rounds 7 and 8, making their debut yesterday, and a solid one it was too, and competing again in round 8 is Team PoliMOVE. Let's find out a little bit more about them.
PoliMOVE are part of the MOVE research team at the Polytechnic of Milan, Italy's largest school of architecture, design, and engineering. MOVE are one of the leading international groups in the field of vehicle control and will be hoping to utilize their extensive skills in automation to make their mark in Roborace Season Beta. They joined in time for Mission 3.1 and will be hoping to change the status quo in the remainder of the season. Is it too late for PoliMOVE to surge up the leaderboard? Let's find out.
Well, they were certainly impressive, as I said, in round 7 yesterday. Let's catch up with the team now. We're joined by Gianluca, who must be feeling really proud of their early effort and looking forward to today. Gianluca, thank you very much for joining us. We are delighted that you have stepped into Roborace this year. How have you found it so far?
Oh, we found good. First of all, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
See, there is some... Okay, see, there is some delay. So we are good. We're very excited to be here. We work hard for being here. And yesterday we had our first test, and yes, eventually went pretty good. So we're very proud of it. Hopefully we're gonna be even better today.
Just how quickly you guys have adapted. We saw in the first few rounds of season.
I think I lost you. Oh.
I'm very sorry. I think you just lost me there. We're having a few technical issues today. Hopefully you can hear me now. Gianluca, it sounds like we might have lost Gianluca as well here, which is a real shame. Oh, he's back. Gianluca, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. We're having some technical issues. Unfortunately,
no, we too.
Yeah. Oh well,
we're having the same here. So
somebody else is having problems because it's not. So it's not just we need your engineers working for us now to make sure that all this gets fixed. Listen, how confident are you today? Then you must be feeling really good. Are you hoping to go quicker today? Are you hoping to hit less obstacles? What's the kind of priority for your AI today? What are you working on?
So after yesterday, we realized that we need to work a bit more on the obstacle. We are more confident on the solo lap and on the vehicle dynamic itself because we have a lot of expertise in this. But regarding the obstacle, this is something very new to us that we are just discovering right now with Roborace. And yes, there is still a lot of work to do to improve that. But yes, hopefully we will show some better result today.
You guys have got a lot of experience already. You've worked on lots of different projects in different areas of AI. What are you hoping for between now and the end of season beta? Are you thinking that you can challenge the top teams here and get some wins, or are you looking at the other kind of research institutes like Team Pisa and looking to compete with them? What's the plan?
So the thing is that as soon as we found out about Roborace, we just had one, and of course about the championship that has been planned for September 2021. We just had one objective, so we wanted to be ready for the real championship. So like every possible opportunity to get some experience prior to that event is valuable to us. So what we are seeking so far, what we are seeking is to, of course, to get our stand in the leaderboard, but for sure but most importantly, to acquire expertise prior to the next championship. We are aware of the fact that team has more expertise than us because they have a lot of more time, but still, like, to us, it's quite a unique opportunity to be here, and we want to take the most out of it.
Most out of it so far. We were really impressed with your performance yesterday, Gianluca. So congratulations on that, and good luck today. We're excited to see what you've got for us.
Thank you. We're excited too.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and it is round number 8 of season beta of Roborace, and we are getting ready to have our third team of the day make their way out onto the circuit, and this is the most excited I've been for quite a while, because it's my first look, the world's first look, at our brand new team. PoliMOVE are about to head out onto the circuit. PoliMOVE are part of the MOVE research team at the Polytechnic of Milan, which is Italy's largest school of architecture, design and engineering. They're joining midway through season beta, not necessarily expecting to be that competitive, although as we saw yesterday, they're already overachieving on that. Their main aim really is to just be ready for season 1 proper, which, as we heard Gianluca telling us just now, is we hope going to get underway later on this year. So they're really using this just to test their software to make sure they can be competitive a bit further down the line. But from what we saw yesterday, they could be competitive right from the off. They had such a strong debut. On their very first attempt, they managed to finish 4th of the 6 teams that we have here in Las Vegas, ahead of series regulars like Team Pisa and even the early championship favourites Arrival Racing. They actually had the 3rd fastest clear time, and they got a whopping 43 collectibles. That is 86 seconds worth of loot that they collected yesterday, and that, for a completely new team, is astonishing, quite frankly. They did manage to hit 8 obstacles, unfortunately, which meant that they picked up an extra 4 minutes onto their time, but it was still a really, really solid debut for this brand new team from Italy, who are sort of beginning their Roborace journey now and beginning their rivalry, I'm sure, with Team Pisa, who I remind you, as the only other Italian team in Roborace, Team Pisa did not complete their run earlier on. PoliMOVE, though, are on the move, and off the line, out of the staging area goes the car, and they rush towards the first corner. PoliMOVE yesterday were bang on the money with top speed. They actually set, would you believe, the fastest recorded top speed of the day yesterday. 158 kilometers an hour they clocked, and I'm sure we're going to see them getting somewhere up there today as well. So this first lap, remember, is a free lap, so no metaverse to worry about. This is where we really get to see what sort of racing line this AI software is going to carry, the sort of speed that they'll carry through the corners. And honestly, you wouldn't know that this was a team in only its 2nd day of Roborace competition. It's carrying just as much speed through the turns as really any of the other teams that we've had racing here with us. This looks already like being a very competitive run. Could they even, whisper it, could they even get onto the podium in their first event? That would be quite the achievement, but I'm really not going to bet against it, given how well they've been going. 143 kilometers an hour reached on the back straight there, into the hairpin at the end of the first lap. Speed drops, nice wide line in, just shy of the apex, but that's okay. It was a tight enough line through the corner, and then across the line they go. So the first lap is in the books, about 1:16 that lap time, and now they head into the metaverse. This is the real challenge for any team, new or old, in Roborace. Yesterday, it was 43 collectibles and 8 of the obstacles. So 43 in the loot box and 8 in the hit box, and already they've hit 2 of the obstacles. That's a full minute, 60 seconds added on already to their time, and that is not an ideal start, but certainly could be worse. The car is still going at least. Let's see what sort of an effort it makes to avoid the next set of obstacles as it winds its way through the far end of the circuit. Such an uphill struggle facing PoliMOVE in their first ever week of Roborace competition, and we saw a lot of teams, really strange line being taken through the chicane there just to avoid, yes, those obstacles that we couldn't see from first camera angle, but from this angle you can see why the car was taking such a strange line. Safely negotiates the obstacles actually in that little batch. But yeah, if you cast your minds back to the opening rounds of season beta back at Thruxton, the first real rounds anyway, we attempted to get the championship up and running at Anglesey, didn't we? But a few weeks later at Thruxton, we did get 2 events in, and the vast majority of the teams, I think 4 of the 6 teams, were not able to react to the metaverse at all on their first run in competition. And yet here at PoliMOVE, in their first run, and they are already dealing very nicely with that metaverse. Now, rather unhelpfully, the telemetry's gone down, so we've lost track now of how many collectibles and obstacles they did. Hopefully someone has got a pen and paper and a notepad and or even a chalkboard, go the old-fashioned route and keep track of the results as they're coming in. But for the time being, this will now become a little bit of a mystery to us as to how well they're doing. But we can get a visual guide. The great thing about being a spectator in Roborace is that you can really see the way that the car is interacting with the metaverse. When it hits those obstacles, we can see it visually on the screen. And so let's see if, yes, here we go, look through the chicane, the obstacles moving along as well, which just makes it even harder. This is something else that the other teams at the start of the season didn't have to deal with. These movable objects are a relatively new introduction to Roborace and the metaverse, and PoliMOVE having to really jump straight in at the deep end here in their debut in the championship. And again, that looked like a clean run through that sequence of corners, down to a really low speed through that chicane as we're on now our 3rd lap, I think. See, I told you I couldn't count. As soon as the lap count disappears on the screen, I lose complete track of where we're at. I think this is lap number 3, and the car about to make its way through then to start its penultimate lap. Gets a couple more of the loot items in the loot bag, weaves around again just to try and collect a couple more as it comes across the start-finish line and onto another lap. And that speed starts to build nicely again through the first corner. Team PoliMOVE have 10 core members, so it's not one of the bigger teams actually as far as team members are concerned. And the team being led by Professor Sergio Savaresi, who is the team manager. He's got a PhD in automation and control, both of which are things that you really need to do well in this competition. And that's a field that most of the team are pretty well trained in. PoliMOVE, as I said, based in Milan in Italy, the oldest university in Milan actually, and one of the top ranking engineering universities in the world. So the people that are working on this team, certainly, as Corey said earlier on, they have the brains, no doubt about it, to put together a really good Roborace campaign. And although we're not getting the specific score that they're scoring at the moment, you can see a hit there taken. One of the obstacles flies out to the right of shot, so I think that's going to be an extra 30 seconds added. I kind of like, actually, not knowing how they're doing. I know that seems like a crazy thing to say, but it sort of builds the anticipation then to see the results scored at the end of the day. But remember, the score that they are trying to beat is the only score we've got on the board so far, set by MIT Driverless, as another obstacle gets, 2 obstacles there get sent flying to the side of the road. That time for MIT was a total time of 7 minutes 41.1, so that's after all of the metaverse scores are added up as well, remember. And it looks as though the clear time here is going to be pretty rapid, but we anticipate maybe there'll be a fair bit of time added on at the end. They're on to their final lap now then, just over 6 minutes into the run. And almost, it doesn't matter really what score they get, just the fact that they've got the car moving, it looks as though, touch wood, they're going to complete a full run of 5 laps on both days. That in and of itself is a massive, massive achievement in their first ever attempt at this. And if they can get out of the blocks this quickly, then you can only imagine the rate of improvement over the next 2 or 3 rounds. And by the time we get to the end of season data, this could even be a team that are challenging for race victories, and that would be tremendously exciting. Really puts the pressure, doesn't it, on some of the teams that have been racing with us so far to do better, and that's what we want. This is why we're testing all of this technology in a competitive environment, because we want the teams to spur each other on, and competition is by far the best way to develop this technology. And having a new team coming in, really applying that pressure to the existing teams can only be a good thing. So let's see then. Final sequence of corners about to be completed here by PoliMOVE. And it looks like it's going to be, what's their time yesterday? Their clear time yesterday was a 7 minutes 39. It's going to be almost identical, isn't it? Look, because the clock at the bottom of the screen goes into the 7 minute 30s now. They might just go a few seconds quicker. Yeah, I think they've beaten their time from yesterday. But how did that stack up compared to yesterday's Metaverse score? Yesterday, they had, what did I say? It was 8 obstacles and 43 collectibles. If they can beat that score today, there is every chance they could get into the top 3. Remember, that was good enough for 4th yesterday. Might they be able to challenge for a podium here on their debut in the championship? That would be truly remarkable if they can, but after a relatively clean run there with no major issues, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they managed to. So Team PoliMOVE then complete their run, which means we're halfway through the day's activity. 3 teams down, 3 more teams to go. Join us after the break when we'll have, hopefully, a closer look at the results from our brand new team.
So Team PoliMOVE can take a deep breath. Hey, Corey, how you doing?
I'm back, guys. I made it.
Oh, where did you land when you blew away?
I blew off the roof, and now I'm in one of the garages by some old dev bots behind me. You can't really see them. I'll show you later. But all is well in the world, and I'm back in the game. So here we go.
Dude, we were a little bit worried about you there. We've got a little bit of time between now and the next run. Obviously, PoliMOVE are waiting for their results to come in. So, Corey, I know you've been across the Twitch feed today. Been a lot of Twitching going on these last couple of days.
Yeah, glad everyone's tuning in today. I'm sure they were sad after yesterday. So we actually have some questions that have come in. Maybe you can help us answer some of them, because I don't know everything there is to know about Roborace quite yet, but I'm learning. So yeah, should we go to some questions? You up for that? Okay.
I don't know everything either, but we'll try.
What? Oh, I don't believe that. Okay, well, you might know a few of these things. Do you know, this one's from Caps Unleashed and another person named @dev2253 about the people that get to be in the Roborace. They asked if you need a PhD to be in Roborace, or they said, can a mechatronics engineer be a part of the Roborace team? Like, do you know what the specifics are on being able to be part of a team or get involved?
Get to Gianluca, because he'll be able to answer better.
Okay.
PhD is Pizza Hut Delivery, right?
Say that again.
PhD stands for Pizza Hut Delivery. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case, yes, you do. No, I believe. I mean, genuinely, seriously. Obviously, most of these teams that we have in Roborace this year are university teams, research centres, where they get. I guess they have a mixture of guys with PhDs and students who are working towards that. And
right.
Students who are looking to move into that industry, all honing their talents here. So we've kind of got established companies who already have a lot of experience in this tech, but also the people who are going to be mapping the future of of driverless technology, and that's what we have in Roborace. It would be interesting to ask the teams actually, what they look for in terms of qualifications, but I guess that's quite a broad question and probably a broad answer.
Right. But I think it's telling that, there's opportunity out there. And, for example, someone that is going to MIT, they had the chance to be a part of this, or if you were working at Acronis. So who knows? Like, just study hard, guys. And you can be part of Roborace.
And just one other thing I would say about that, Corey, as well, is that I think it's cool, a series like Roborace can make AI sexy for students too. There'll be people watching this who probably never considered it before as a career path, and they might start looking at it now.
Yeah, it is definitely something down the road. And we're, we keep talking about how we're in the beta season here, and Roborace is only going to grow. We're going to get more teams, and there's going to be all sorts of opportunity worldwide. So guys, stay tuned for your chance to be part of Roborace. We have some other questions too. I know we talked about this yesterday, but Mousy Brown is asking probably both of us if I don't think you really answered it yesterday. So what's your take on that?
Probably people didn't see yesterday. Would you ever be a passenger in the DevBot? Yes, I would. I mean, so far apart from one crash at Thruxton, which was literally really low speed, straight off the start line, straight into the pit wall, which went viral. So you probably saw it on your Twitter feeds. Other than that, the DevBot has proved to be, every time there's been a spin or a potential problem, it shuts down. The AI drivers are programmed in any kind of problem situation like that to put the brakes on, and it shuts down. And we've not seen any massive spins. So yeah, I would put it this way: I would feel more safe getting in the car with the DevBot than I would with some of my friends. That's for sure.
Okay, I agree with all of that, but I'll challenge you to that. I guess when you come here, finally, we're gonna put you in one if you're allowed, and make you go 150 kilometers per hour and see how you feel then. I don't know. I'm too scared still, but I get that it does shut down. But you guys don't know me, but I'm a scared passenger as it is. I like the idea that these superhuman cars can make decisions in less than a second, but I'm still scared. So we'll see. Okay, what else? On Twitch, let's see. How am I finding my first Roborace, Daniel Quinn? I am finding it fascinating. Every aspect, from the cars to the teams to, just the fact that they're all over the world and that it literally changes from day to day, and that it's constantly developing, not just this championship, but the cars themselves. And that's what's so neat about this technology. And I'm excited to be a part of this story. So we'll see where that goes. So yeah, it's been cool. And thanks, Matt, for having me on board today and dealing with the wind and all of that. So we're just, like you said, making it work as we go. So a lot of people ask this question. This one's from Gamelget. They said, do all the teams share the same DevBot? I think you can answer that one, Matt.
Yeah, well, the short answer to that is currently yes, they do. SIT have their own car too, but in a couple of the rounds so far in season beta, they've had issues with that car, and have actually ended up switching their AI into the same DevBot that everybody else is using. So yeah, everybody using the same car, and it's literally just the AI that changes. It's just the coding in the software. The idea is in the future, and this is part of the reason that we're developing this technology now with the obstacles and the collectibles, is that the cars are able to detect the environment around them and detect moving obstacles, so that in time, and we can ask Chip later about how long we can expect that to be, there will be multiple cars out on track at the same time, and they will all be able to detect where the other cars are out on track and adjust their lines and adjust their racing strategy as well. So it doesn't take a great visionary to see how that could be transferred to public transport in the future, the way that we're all going to be living our lives in years to come. So it's exciting, and I think at the minute it's just cool to see one dev bot out there, but the prospect of multiple dev bots all racing together on track is going to be awesome. And I believe as well, here's a little scoop for you guys. I think the idea is to get viewer interaction on those races as well. So the metaverse will be able to have viewers, fans sat at home or sat at the track actually playing a part as well in what happens with the metaverse. It'll be something completely different to any other motorsport in the world, as if it wasn't different enough.
Right, totally. But speaking about the different cars too, Acronis having their own vehicle, Roboracer says, does that give them an advantage? And from my understanding, it doesn't, because it's exactly the same car. But what sort of advantage or disadvantages can you have in this race apart from that, like the time of day or the temperature or obviously the wind that blew me off the roof? Does any of that have a factor, you think?
I suppose it does. I mean, so far the conditions have been really the same for everybody. We had an incident in the previous round where we had a desert storm come in, but actually the track conditions were really surprisingly pretty much identical for everybody. But the idea is that the Michelin Pilot Sport tires that they use have grip in very similar levels of grip in relatively variable conditions. So more or less they shouldn't differ too much from one team to the next unless we get a dramatic change in the weather. Now listen, the exciting news I can tell you, Corey, is that we do have the results in now from Team PoliMOVE's run there, and I can just take you through those because as we saw with Andy, once again it was another very solid performance from PoliMOVE. And they were actually, I mean, a bit like yesterday, they were very fast with their elapsed time. 7 minutes 33 seconds was actually 22 seconds quicker than MIT. But in terms of the loot that they picked up, not quite as competitive. They picked up 29 collectibles compared to 37 for MIT, and they hit 7 obstacles, which in total counts for a penalty time of 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So in total, a 10 minute and 5.3 second result time for PoliMOVE, which slots them in behind MIT Driverless on the provisional standings, and of course ahead of University of Pisa, who didn't finish. And the other interesting thing is their top speed was 157 k's an hour, which was 4 k's an hour quicker than MIT. So I think Gianluca is going to be very happy with this, and let's see if we can ask him about that right now. Gianluca from Team PoliMOVE, making their debut in Las Vegas this weekend. Called it a solid start. Yeah, Gianluca, you must be really pleased with that. Your second run today.
Yeah, we are very enthusiastic about it. Like we basically made two great rounds in a row, and those were our first experiences. So I mean, we're all happy about that. For sure, there is a lot of work to do related to obstacle, but still, from yesterday to today, we managed to improve a little bit. Yesterday we hit 8 obstacles, if I'm not wrong, and today we managed to hit just 7. I mean, one less. So it's still an improvement. So we are fine with that. We're happy with that.
Can you hear me? Oh, huh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there I am. So for me, just so you know, word on the street here is that everyone's really excited about your team because you've only been in it for a few weeks, really, and you guys are doing so well. Going, like, your speed is what everyone's talking about on the ground here. How do you prepare for a race like this, and how do you, like, after coming in yesterday, what did you do from yesterday to today to change?
Like we first of all analyzed the data from yesterday. We didn't have much time, just 24 hours, and apparently, I mean, we realized since the beginning that there was a problem with the obstacle. So what we tried to do today was trying to mitigating that problem as much as we could, because like we couldn't make a huge modification to the code in a day, so we just tried to adapt to yesterday results. and we did see some improvement compared to yesterday, so we are positive about that. We still have our say in the solo lap, so this is another great thing. And yes, we will keep on trying to improve ourselves in the next races. Not sure if you can hear me anymore.
Yes, I can. It sounds like Corey can't. Thank you very much for that, Gianluca. We'll let you go. Thanks so much for joining us, and congratulations to you and all of the strong shine in your first 2 rounds of Roborace season. We look forward to seeing you next time. Move's data has been wiped clean from the dev bot now, and it's time to download the racing driver for Autonomous Racing Graz. Team ARG have really gone from strength to strength so far this season. Here's a quick look at the team.
Following a spectacular season alpha, Team Autonomous Racing Graz returned to the Roborace Championship for season beta. They proved themselves one of the top-tier competitors during the 2019 championship, setting very fast times at multiple racetracks and demonstrating how to achieve the best from a dev bot, regardless of wet weather or difficult conditions. With an experienced team and aggressive AI driver, Team ARG are always in the fight.
Our team, Autonomous Racing Graz, and I'm delighted to say we're joined now by Tobias Renzler from the team. Tobias, thank you very much for joining us. You guys have been having such a good season so far, especially in recent weeks. 3rd in round 5, 2nd in round 6, and in round 7 as well. Surely you're closing out on that first win, aren't you?
Yeah, thanks for being here. Yeah, it was quite good for us so far, but I think we need to continue like that. The other teams are getting stronger, and also we need to do. And of course, we hope that we can finish on the podium again, also this time.
There yesterday, and you've definitely got the form, that's for sure. Is there a particular area of development that you've been focusing on in recent weeks to make the improvements that we're seeing on the track?
Not particularly, but let's say we tried to continue where we stopped on mission 3, and let's say we tried to tune our solutions a bit that they, let's say, better fit to the current setup what we have here at Roborace, with a lot of dynamic obstacles that are very hard to avoid. And the penalty is quite big, so we really try to not hit any obstacles here. And that's what we basically did. We tried to fine tune and to, let's say, get some seconds out of our performance.
And so does the fact then that we're at the same circuit for a few rounds in succession now, and at the new home of Roborace at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, does that help, having that one consistent variable?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps for us, because let's say in the testing stage we have less work, because we can always rely on the same track. But let's say from a racing perspective, of course, for us it would be let's say more interesting, more fun to have different tracks to check out.
Well, for the time being, we are loving watching you out there in Las Vegas, and looking forward to seeing if you can get on that podium again today, or even challenge for the win, Tobias. Best of luck.
Thanks.
All right. Well, it looks like ARG are almost ready to go. Looking forward to seeing what they do on the track today. Andy, this is all you.
Yeah, looking forward to this too, Corey. ARG are usually really quick, so hoping to see more of that today. They've been scoring well in the metaverse in the past as well, and they're really starting to move up the points table now. They've had a bit of an up and down season. They tended to go from one event where they'd be really quick, and then the next event maybe they'd run into a few technical issues and not score. But they've found a bit of consistency actually over the last few rounds, and they haven't yet won an event. They've had a couple of second place finishes. Maybe today is the day that they can go and get that first victory of season beta. They'll certainly be hoping so. They could do with it as well. They're one of the teams that I think really want to take advantage of rival racing just slipping down a little bit. You know, they had that non-finish yesterday, as well as last time out as well. They didn't score any points. So they and SIT, I think, both want to really capitalise on that, take some points out of our early championship leaders. And today could be the day they can do it. Can they get their first victory of season beta? They have been in the past in Roborace. They won the Performance and Precision Challenge of Season Alpha back in 2019, towards the back end of 2019. They also finished second at Roborace's Localization Challenge at the Zala Zone in Hungary in August 2019. So they have tasted success in Roborace, but not yet in Season Beta. And this really is the complete test of what these cars can do. In Season Alpha, we have these events where maybe one particular aspect of the AI software will be really put through its paces. But now in Season Beta, we add it all together. You've got to go fast. You've got to have a good driving line. You've got to have good reliability as well. And you've got to deal with the metaverse. So all of the things that the teams have been working on for the last couple of years, in many cases, for some of them even longer than that, are all now starting to come together, really. And Autonomous Racing Graz, as I said, had that second place yesterday in round 7. They only hit 2 obstacles yesterday, but their collectible count was only 22. That was 30 fewer collectibles, 30 less in the loot column than the eventual winners yesterday, SIT. So really what we're looking for today from ARG is an improvement in their loot count. That box on the top right-hand corner of the screen, which hopefully we'll be able to keep track of throughout the entire run this time. So we're looking for the car to leave the staging area, which is where it's sat now, just a couple of feet behind the start line. And that should eventually be good to go. We should get the car. It's still in human mode, as you can see, which still tickles me to see a car in human mode. It wasn't that long ago that, as far as I was concerned, that's the only mode that a car could be in, but it will eventually tick over into autonomous mode, and when it does, we're good to go with our 4th team of the day here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway on one of several road course layouts that lie just outside of the 1.5-mile speedway, which is used for top-level American stock car racing and many other series as well. But the road courses, I don't know if they actually host competitive racing, so it might well be that the laps that we're posting in Roborace here are perhaps some of the first ever truly competitive laps run on these tracks. I think they're mainly used for track days and driving experiences and things like that. So history being made here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now, I've learned many things over the last few months working on Roborace. One thing I've learned to fear is this delay at the start, and we sort of get used to the rhythm of these events, and you know, car pulls up, safety driver gets out, gets into a road car, gets driven away, a few seconds go by, and then the car switches into autonomous mode and goes, and you just get a sense sometimes when things aren't quite going as quickly as they should be. I think this car should have left the line by now, and it hasn't. So does this mean that ARG are having a problem getting their AI software switched on and activated? That, unfortunately, we won't know until perhaps we see the safety driver re-emerge on the circuit to get back into the car. But for now, it's just sort of sat there baking in the Nevada sun, and although it looks like a glorious day, we've seen the wind is definitely picking up. Not that the Deadbot 2.0 will mind that. It just wants to get on with the business of going quickly around the track, but it's not able to do it yet, and this is now definitely, this is going on longer than it should. We normally would have seen the car move by now. Obviously, because we unfortunately couldn't bring you the coverage from the track yesterday, we don't know if this is something that they also struggled with in round 7. And they've had some issues in the past, actually, with comms timeouts and general communication failures, which have sometimes meant that they've either not started on time or more often stopped out on circuit. So is it another comms issue with ARG? There has been something in the water at Las Vegas at the moment, which seems to be affecting everyone's comms. So wouldn't be surprised if one of the teams have been taken down by this. Now, is the car, was that the safety car? I don't think it was the safety car, was it? So that was another car making its way down the service road. So, I mean, the team will be in contact with the Roborace crew on site. So if they are feeling they can get this fixed or that they can get the car going, they will tell Roborace and the team will just leave them to it. So the fact that the safety driver hasn't yet appeared on the scene tells me that maybe they do think they can get it sorted. But there is very little that the teams can do remotely to fix these problems, really. It's only when they get the car back to the garage and they can plug the laptop in and download all of the data, then they can figure out what's wrong. But when it's actually out on track, the team has remarkably little to do. They just sort of monitor all of the data coming in and obviously watch the coverage on the stream. And that's it. They've done all of their hard work long before the car actually makes its way out onto the track. The last thing they have to do, I guess, is just to switch everything on. I'm sure there's more technical way of putting that, but you get what I mean. When the car switches into autonomous mode, that's kind of it then. The team just has to sit back and hope for the best. And that appears to be the issue here. Of course, all the time, the clock is ticking down here. They have only a limited window. I think it's 20 minutes, isn't it, that they've got to get their run in, and they must complete all 5 of those laps within the 20 minutes. And I think I'm hearing in my ear, they've only got 12 of those minutes left. So that is okay. They've got time. We're seeing most of the teams getting around their 5 laps anywhere between 7 and 8 minutes. So as long as they get going fairly shortly, they have got time to get the 5 laps in. But what they now can't afford is a further drama. If they stop out on track, they won't have time to reset and go again. Because, again, if you're new to Roborace, the rule is that you must complete your 5 minutes within the 20-minute window and you get 1 free reset. So if the car goes off the track or if it stops, you can abandon the run and go again. In fact, you can do it voluntarily. I believe Arrival Racing did that yesterday. They voluntarily aborted their first run because they realised it wasn't quick enough. And they unfortunately managed to completely mess up their second run, went off the track, and so they ended up with a non-finish. They did rather go all in on that second run. They are in Las Vegas, I suppose, so if ever there was a time and a place for a bit of a gamble, this is the place. It didn't really pay off for Arrival yesterday. But my point being that Autonomous Racing Graz, if they do now get going, they are not going to have time to start again. I believe the team are working on a fix here. They're trying to, and again, this sounds like a technical term, they're trying to debug the car. I don't think they're in there with the virtual bug spray. I think this is a bug in the system, which they're trying to, well, first of all, identify, then try and problem solve and find out what's going to fix it, and then apply that solution, all whilst being literally the other side of the world. Autonomous Racing Graz, remember, based at the Graz University of Technology in Austria, so most of the team members are a long, long, long way away from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which means that they're having to do all of this completely remotely, and it means that fixing problems like this, even if it might actually be quite a simple problem in theory to fix, in reality it's probably quite a bit harder to do. So time continues to tick down then. Still no sign of life from the Deadbot 2.0, which is sat in the staging area. Car specifically built, a bespoke car specifically built for Roborace. As we heard Matt talking about before, it can reach speeds actually in excess of 230 kilometers an hour. So that's anywhere around 140 miles an hour in full autonomous mode, which isn't bad at all, is it? It uses about 270 kilowatts of power, none of which are being deployed right now because it's going nowhere. It's still sat there baking in the heat, and there is still no sign of it moving off the line. No, I know I'm going to sound pessimistic here, but I really don't see how they're going to solve this problem without taking it back to the garage. But again, the team have the option, don't they, to get in touch with Roborace and say, look, can you get us back to the garage? We think we can fix the problem there, but that's just not happening at the moment. So we're going to take a break from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway because, quite frankly, not much happening right now. But hopefully, when we come back in a few minutes, ARG will have got the problem solved and they will go on their run on the track. Remember, we think they've got a chance of a podium if only they can get the car to move. Welcome back, everyone, to Roborace Season Beta here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where, unfortunately, the news for Autonomous Racing Graz is not good. The car is moving, but not in autonomous mode. It has our safety driver behind the wheel. And to add insult to injury, their time has pretty much run out. They've got less than 60 seconds left of their allotted 20-minute time window, which means they're not going to get their run in. So the car will make its way around. I'm saying it's in human mode. Is there a driver behind the wheel? I can't actually see from where we are because this is not the route that the safety driver, I don't think, would normally take back. So they might have actually got it into autonomous mode here right at the end. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're actually going to get their run in? They've just got it out in time. So yeah, I'm hearing this is in autonomous mode. So good news, everyone. ARG will get their run in. Remember, as long as they start their run within the 20 minutes, that's okay. They don't have to finish it within the 20 minutes. They just have to start it within the 20 minutes. So talk about pulling victory from the jaws of defeat. The Autonomous Racing Graz team might have just pulled a blinder there. So now all they have to do is complete 5 laps without any more dramas, because they absolutely don't have time to restart this run. This is it. So if they can do this cleanly and quickly, well, who knows? They could still challenge for their first victory. They were second place yesterday. It was their second place finish in a row, because they finished P2 in round number 6 as well here at Las Vegas. And if they can continue that run going, then you'd imagine the next step is to go and get themselves an event win. So through the first sequence of corners they go, and the loot and the hit tally matching each other already. They've hit 1 bonus and 1 penalty, so that's a 30-second penalty and a 2-second time save. What was their score yesterday? Let's have a look then. ARG, 2 obstacles yesterday, and only 22 of the collectibles. That really was their big issue yesterday, was the lack of bonus time that they were able to find. And ARG need to try and utilise the metaverse just a little bit better. But they had so many technical issues in the first few rounds that you do sort of get the sense they might be a little bit behind the curve when it comes to developing their metaverse-related software. They've spent most of the first sort of 2 or 3 events really solving minor little issues, and then they have that really unfortunate brake issue for a couple of rounds as well, which really disrupted their running. Obviously not an issue with the car, that was not an issue with the team. We think that was a mechanical issue with the car, but nonetheless it affected them, no doubt about it. So that has put ARG behind the 8 ball a little bit. Now, the count at the top of the screen, unfortunately, has just reset itself, but I did notice that they had only collected 2 bonuses on that first lap, but they had 2 penalties, so 60 seconds being added on for the Autonomous Racing Graz team. So that chance of maybe challenging for victory could be going away. They still have things to fight for, though, because they come into this round just 200 points behind Arrival Racing. Now, in theory, if ARG could have won today, they might have had a chance to move ahead of Arrival. Remember, you get these 500 points just for getting on the grid, which they've now banked. Then you get 200 points for finishing second and 300 for finishing third. So a second place finish at this stage could give them a chance of drawing level with Arrival, and if they could win, then they could potentially take second place in the championship away. And of course, if Arrival, for whatever reason, don't start, then they could forego their 500 points for gridding up and hand second place to ARG anyway. So there's definitely still plenty to fight for. And so that clutch moment where they were able to get the car going just in the nick of time. I mean, they must have had, 30 seconds, if that, when they got the car off the line. That could prove to be really, really important. So 2 obstacles there to be negotiated through the final corner, and that was quite interesting. Look, because it's almost trapped. This looks like the car is almost trapped between the 2 obstacles, doesn't it? And it didn't know whether it could get past them. So that's something that I'm sure the team will have picked up back at base, that the car could have just driven between those two obstacles, but because they were moving at the same speed as the car, I think it almost got a bit confused. Let's see if the same happens here. No, we've straight past those two, so that's definitely an interesting little thing. We've not seen that happen before. It's almost like getting trapped between two vehicles on a highway, isn't it? You can't go left, you can't go right, so you just sort of get boxed in between them, and that's almost what happened there, it appeared, to my untrained eye at least, to the ARG team. Anyway, onto another lap they go, and the car continuing pretty cleanly now. Their clear time yesterday, which is their time before they add on the Metaverse score, was ARG a 7 minutes 10. So a 7 minute 10 was the target to beat. And again, look, it gets held up there behind the virtual traffic, if you like. Answers on a postcard as to what those things are supposed to be, by the way. It continues to flummox me. I have absolutely no idea. Those of you watching on Twitch, if you can tell me what those things are, I would be much obliged, because they're, yeah, I've no idea. But either way, ARG, I think, avoided whatever they were that time. But again, had to really slow down to get past the moving objects, and then some static objects here to negotiate too, which it does. Again, we're not seeing the score coming up here at the top of the screen, but it looks to me as though they are not slowing down for the obstacles as much as some of the other teams. So have they decided to go for a more aggressive approach here, not worry about the Metaverse too much? They're making some effort to avoid the obstacles, obviously, but they're not in general going as slowly as we've seen for some of the other cars out there. And is that tactic going to pay off or not? That is the real question. Both MIT and PoliMOVE had clear times in the 7 minutes, a 7:33 for PoliMOVE and a 7:55 for MIT. And so if ARG were to run the time that they did yesterday, they could potentially go quicker than those two teams, but I don't think they're going to score as well from the Metaverse. All will become clear, though, in the near future. More obstacles, lots of obstacles. This is the tricky one, isn't it? And look, it just blasts straight through. It doesn't make any real attempt there to avoid the either static or moving obstacles. Races between the two obstacles there. So that weird thing that it did, where it almost got stuck, it only seems to happen at low speed, doesn't it? When it approaches the obstacles at high speed, it seems to either not react to them at all, or be able to find a path through them. It's only when the obstacle was going the same speed as the car was, so through the hairpin it might be an issue. No, that was neat and tidy as well. Through they go though, on to what should be their final lap of the run. And the car makes its way up through the first corner. And sorry, no, I think they've actually, that was their final lap. I told you I couldn't count. I've never made any secret of that. That was 5 laps completed then. And a clear time, look at that, just under 7 minutes. So that is quicker than they went yesterday. And depending on how their Metaverse score factors into all of that, that could actually be a very, very competitive time. We haven't yet seen a team, today at least, go sub 7 minutes on their clear time. Yesterday, SIT managed it just. They did a 6:58.5. But we'll see whether or not they can go quicker later on. Remember, we still are waiting for Acronis SIT Autonomous and Arrival Racing to go. The top two teams in the championship will be the last two teams to go. So well worth sticking around for that. And we'll see where they end up on the leaderboard, and also where ARG end up. So that then is our fourth team of the day done, and they only just got out there. I'll tell you what, I bet there are some nervous faces back in Austria, or certainly some relieved faces now, nervous for a while, and then when they obviously managed to find that bug and eliminate it, and they were clearly confident that they could do so, because as I said, they didn't choose to send the car back to the garage. They left it out on the grid. They left it right until the last few seconds, but they did manage to fix it, and that was really important, that they were able to get out there, score some good points. And it means now that if Arrival do have a slip up, then second place in the championship could go the way of ARG, and that would be the first time all the way through season beta that Arrival Racing have not been in the top two positions in the points. So that is going to be really tasty. It heaps the pressure onto the London-based team, and also our championship leaders SIT, because it's clear that the chasing pack are getting closer and closer to those two teams. MIT we've seen with a real improvement this week. The same is true of ARG. We've got the new team, PoliMOVE, who have straight out of the box been on the pace. And so the teams that started off season beta pretty well now have a lot more pressure on their shoulders. So that then is our fourth team of the day done, and they only just got out there. I tell you what, I bet there are some nervous faces back in Austria, or certainly some relieved faces now, nervous for a while, and then when they So the car then makes its way back up the hill towards the garage area, and the AI driver will be unplugged, and the next one will go in. The next team that we're going to have out is Arrival Racing. So Arrival, our the team that are second place in the championship, arriving here at round number 8, are going to be the next car out. That should be within the next sort of 30 minutes or so. Stick around for that, and then it will be our championship leaders and yesterday's winners. SIT, Acronis SIT, will be our final team out. The winners of 4 events so far this year. Arrival have 2 wins, and well, are we going to see a new winner here today, or will we see one of those 2 once again take the championship trophy home? Well, we'll find out in the next couple of hours.
Yet to take to the track, but that run from ARG, a real strong one, puts them in second place provisionally overall on the leaderboard, and a result time of 8 minutes 27 seconds, so somewhat slower than MIT Driverless. So that was largely down to the extra obstacles that they collected, that they hit, I should say, 4 of those, so for a total penalty time of 2 minutes, which added to their elapsed time of 6 minutes 57 seconds. So Corey, ARG, fastest on the track so far, but unfortunately just picking up a couple of collectibles, and once again we've seen how important that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was exciting and not exciting at the same time, because we didn't know what was happening, but then when they got to go, we were all just like cheering back here, so I'm happy about that. And during that time, we were just checking out the Twitch. There's been some activity. And it's funny because people keep talking about the metaverse, and one of the conversations going on right now is like what they're calling the obstacles and the bonuses, or the loots as we call them. And people have all sorts of names that they want to change this to. FYI, Roborace, thinking about what, like, I would call them blimps or zeppelins. So what else? It says we could just stick to bonuses and penalties. Loots and tally, I don't know. So it's just funny, like, that people are getting in there and thinking about changing the metaverse as it goes. So how about that? How about Andy, right? Like, he's pretty good at killing time. I was like, I talk to myself a lot, but that was impressive.
Yeah, that's hey, we all have our talents. We all have our talents, right? He's very good at that. He's brilliant at his job, isn't he?
Gosh, yeah. So we did have some questions on here from LH87. How much has Roborace grown since day one? Like, what changes have you seen since coming on board?
He wasn't there at day one, but I was there at round 1 of the season Pisa championship, and of course we had season before this. For me, the big change has probably been some of the, let's say, I want to say smaller teams. They're not smaller, but like I said before, Arrival Racing and the Acronis SIT, these big tech companies who've got a lot of investment, and we expect them to be really strong as they are. For me, the big change has been in teams like ARG, MIT Driverless, who in the first couple of rounds were literally struggling to complete a couple of laps. You know, there's some kind of back, a bug, something in the AI that wasn't quite working, something that wasn't quite ready. You know, we've even seen one of the teams, Carnegie Mellon University, actually go because they felt that they couldn't quite, they wanted into a state fit enough to race this year, so they're going to come back at a later date. But for those guys who've persevered, like I said, I would say MIT, ARG, and also Team Pisa, who, you know, on the face of it, you look at their results this weekend, don't look that great, but actually when you see the performance and you see the progress, you can really see what's going on there. So I think, you know, I would say that for me, the one big difference from round 1 to now, to sum it up, is that the competition is bunched up much closer.
Andy Matt wants to know if you're jealous that I'm in Vegas and you're not.
Yeah, that's a stupid question. I mean, have you been to Huddersfield?
To where?
Yeah, good. Yeah, exactly. But the good news is we're going to swap next week, Corey. You're coming over to Huddersfield, and I'm going to go to Vegas. How's that? Yeah, I am good.
I'll get back to you on that one.
The only problem is if I do end up going to Vegas is that I might just disappear somewhere and not show up for work, but that's another story. Let me just run through those results again for you, Corey, just to confirm again before we head and speak to Tobias from Team IRG, because just want to confirm to you that they are currently sat in second place overall. MIT Driverless are in first place, but they only need second place to move up to second in the championship if things go their way. Let's say, for example, if Acronis SIT have a disaster now and don't manage to post the time, then ARG would be, well, they would need a rival to do that as well, so the chances are quite slim, but they will be well placed. So it'd be interesting to see actually how Tobias feels about that. The actual speed of the car, very good, but 4 obstacles, that was the big kind of problem for them really today.
Looks like we're going to bring Tobias back in now. See if we can get his take on what went down. All right, Tobias, how are you? That was nerve-wracking for me anyway. I don't know, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it was quite exciting at the beginning. It was quite close as well, but we are happy that we managed to start and finish.
And that's going on. How did you realize that there was a problem, and what's going on your end with your team, and how did you get it going again?
Yeah, well, at the beginning there was the problem that the car couldn't be, let's say, localized correctly. So it always said that the car is not standing on the track, which obviously was not the case. And therefore we made the decision to reposition the car, and we saw that in the stream that was done by hand then, and luckily in time, and then the positioning worked correctly, and therefore we were able to start. And afterwards there were no issues with the localization anymore, but we hit in the end too many obstacles, but still we're happy that we could actually run.
Apparently it was like 11 seconds to go. Did you know that? And were you guys like cheering on the other end when it was a green light?
No, we didn't know that it was that close, but yeah, we had some countdown, let's say, from Roborace that it told us, yeah, there are 5 minutes left, there are 4 minutes left, but yeah, we didn't know that it was so close because we couldn't see it on the live stream. But yeah, I said after those problems, we were really happy that the car managed then to start.
Great runs in the past rounds, 5, 6, and 7. You keep moving up. What are you guys doing to improve on the driving? And do you think being here in Las Vegas as a home has helped you achieve that sort of trajectory?
Well, I mean, like the racetrack now that we are driving now for 4 events, of course, helps us because we know, let's say, the difficult corners. We can tune our algorithms according to that, so of course that helps. But we also saw today that, of course, with that virtual obstacles, especially the dynamic ones, every round is in the end completely different, and that makes it impossible to, let's say, perfectly tune the algorithms. But one time so yesterday it went quite good for us. Today we hit too many obstacles, but yeah, I think we are happy anyways.
Looking forward to round 9, and hopefully you guys can get those algorithms going and avoid more obstacles. But congrats on a great round 7 and round 8, and thanks for chatting with us, Tobias. On to the next.
Thanks. See you next time.
2 more teams to run at round 8 of season beta of the Roborace Championship over in Las Vegas. They are Acronis SIT, and these guys are rival racing. Let's take a look.
Team Arrival Racing are arguably one of the most experienced teams in Roborace, having been part of the competition since the very beginning. They were a strong contender in the 2019 Season Alpha Championship, taking wins through the year and growing into one of the top teams. Arrival Racing proved they have the speed and reliability, adapting well to the metaverse, and fighting for the top place in the championship all season. Expect them to be fast from the first lap.
Yeah, it's been a really strong season so far for Arrival Racing. Let's talk to the team now. We're joined by Alexey Skabelkin. Alexey, how are you doing? I mean, it's been a strong season for you guys so far, but the last two rounds have not gone to plan, have they? Just talk us through it.
Yes, so actually we decided yesterday that we not really interested into second place, and that's why we went all in. So yeah, yesterday it went not really well, but we fully prepared for today's run, and yeah, we just swapped our strategy. So right now we want to go all in, and in any case we will switch back to safe parameters and just show our time.
Let me get that. You're telling me you're going for it today, or you're staying within safe parameters? Is it? Are you kind of
okay? But looks like I lost you. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah, sorry, I think I lost you as well, Alexey. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you'd said that you guys were going to kind of go for it today and throw caution to the wind, or if you were going to play it safe.
We want to go all in, and in any case, if something goes wrong, we just put our safe parameters and just carefully finish our laps.
Because we're looking forward to this, because I think yesterday SIT set that lap at a really quick time. They laid down the gauntlet for you guys, and you're picking it up. You're going to go for it. That's what we want to see.
Yes, of course.
Good. Well, that's what the competition is all about. Okay, we're excited. Just one thing I want to ask you, Alexey, quickly. I know we're about to go racing now. The metaverse elements revealing themselves at 100 meters instead of 150. Has that been a big challenge for you guys?
Not really, because we were prepared in advance. So we knew that the change will be like.
Fair enough. Good to hear it. Glad to hear you're prepared. Alexey, I wish you the best of luck. You've not had much of that over the last couple of rounds. So let's hope you get it today. And we're really looking forward to seeing you guys go all in.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, here they are, Arrival, and they need a win to stand a chance of keeping up with the Acronis SIT. At least get around the lap successfully. But let's see how they get on. Andy, I'm going to send it over to you.
Yeah, completing a lap successfully, not something they were able to do yesterday. Well, actually, they kind of did, and then they thought, no, that wasn't fast enough. We're going to throw that in the bin, and we think we can do better. And they couldn't. They went off the track, and they lost all of the points that they might have scored otherwise. It was, I love the phrase all in. I know we're in Las Vegas. It really feels like this is a team that's willing to gamble to do well in season beta. I love that quote as well from Alexey. We're not interested in finishing second. They likely would have finished second yesterday. They'd have scored 200 points, but they didn't want that. They wanted to win. They wanted the 300 for winning because they want to win season beta. They're the most experienced team in Roborace, and everyone at the start of the season was saying that they would be the champions. And here they are now, several hundred points off the championship lead and desperate to try and get it back. It's going to be fascinating to see how they get on out on track in just a few moments' time, because the car, I believe, is almost ready to go out on the Las Vegas circuit, and they'll be looking to do better than they did yesterday, that's for sure. I wonder if we'll see quite the same gamble. They were their main issue really yesterday was the metaverse. Actually, they were going quite quickly and they were scoring quite a lot through the loop, but they managed to collect a few more of the obstacles than SIT had. That was the reason their rival decided they wanted to abort their first run, go again, and that's maybe something they'd be prepared to do again today if they feel that that's the only way that they can go ahead and win. So hopefully I'm going to get some footage in a moment of the car on the circuit, and we'll be able to see exactly how they get on. But this is an important round, you feel, for Arrival, because they're actually in danger if they were to not score today, for example, and SIT come out and get another win, their third win in a row, then Arrival are getting on for almost being 1,000 points off the championship lead. And that, as we move into now the sort of final half of the season, is going to be an awful lot for them to try and get back, really. You know, that's a pretty big points deficit to be in. And if they are not able to do that, then they're going to find themselves certainly performing a bit worse than they expected to over the course of the season. So waiting for hopefully some footage of Arrival Racing out on the track. Now I see it. There we go. That's more like it. I've been staring at myself for the last 2 minutes, thinking I'm sure there's something more interesting I could be seeing in my own face. There we go. So, Arrival are off. Well, we've joined them at the most remarkable moment. Arrival Racing have gone off the track on a straight. I mean, that is remarkable. That was coming out of the final corner, wasn't it? I think they were trying to negotiate the metaverse items, and the car has slid some way off the track. So, apologies if everyone at home has been seeing the footage up until that point, then you'll be able to tell me whether they were pushing harder than normal. It certainly looks like they might have been. Literally on my screen, the pictures of the car appeared just as it slid off the road. So dramatic scenes here, and yet again, Arrival Racing making a mistake. And this is, I'm going to try and put a positive spin on this, because this is actually exactly what we wanted to see. Arrival, some people thought they might be able to coast through season beta and win it pretty easily. And I love the fact that teams like SIT and ARG and even now PoliMOVE as well, the new team, I spoke earlier on about the pressure that they're applying onto our championship favourites, and it's forcing Arrival to take risks that they wouldn't ordinarily take, and it's forcing Arrival to really go quicker than perhaps their AI driver is comfortable with, and that has really coming back to bite them now, isn't it? So the first thing that Roborace will want to check now is whether the car's damaged. I know it doesn't look like much, but the sliding, I mean, look how far off the road it's gone. It's not a little way off the track, is it? It's gone quite a long way to the right, and that is, I repeat, on the straight. And this is what the metaverse does. It makes the car have to make sudden movements at parts of the circuit where you wouldn't normally expect it to. And we heard Matt talking to Alexey about this decreased distance between the car and the metaverse items appearing. It's gone down from 150 meters to 100 meters. So they only get a 100-meter warning, which, if they're at speed, which the car would have been at that part of the circuit, means that they only have around about half a second or so potentially to react to it. And to put that into some perspective, when you're taking your driving test and the driving instructor says, right, I'm going to bang on the dashboard in a moment, and when I do, you need to perform an emergency brake. Well, the average human reaction time from moving at just 30 miles an hour to a standstill is around 0.7 seconds. So we're giving these AI drivers less time than that to react, and they're going quicker, and it's all against the clock. So the less speed that they scrub off in avoiding the obstacles, the better. And that's what's led to this moment. And also, I think, Team Pisa went off earlier on, and we've had a few in recent rounds that have slid off the track trying to negotiate the metaverse. And that is exactly what we want to see, because if we make it too easy for the teams, then the technology isn't going to get developed at the rate at which it should. So it's frustrating, I'm sure, for Arrival. Their run is not necessarily over. They do still have the potential to get back out there again, as long as there is no damage to the car, which there shouldn't be damage, but the tyres will have certainly been scraped there. They could have flat spotted the tyres, they could have damaged the under tray of the car as it rattled across the gravel. So there is a chance that the car might have to be checked over here by the Roborace mechanics, and if that's the case, might this eat into the 20-minute window for arrival? Will they get back out there? Will this be another DNF for Arrival Racing? Now, if it is, I think their second place in the championship, their second place in the championship is still safe, because ARG cannot finish any better than third now. And remember, you have to finish in the top 2 to get any extra points. 300 for a win, 200 for second. So ARG, who arrived here at this round 200 points behind Arrival, needed to finish at least in the top 2 and then hope that Arrival didn't score. That's not going to happen. One of those situations might happen, in that Arrival might not score, but ARG did not ultimately finish high enough up the leaderboard for that to matter. So at least P2 in the points should still be in Arrival Racing's hands at the end of the event, but by how much? Will they be able to bounce back from this and set a competitive time? I mean, we'd written off ARG, hadn't we, half an hour ago, when they couldn't get the car moving at all, and then they managed to get out of the staging area with seconds to spare. So don't write off Arrival Racing. They might still be able to get out there and put in a good run. Well, welcome back then, where the dramatic scenes here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway continue. The clouds starting to roll in now, rather ominously over the speedway, and that could really be seen as a metaphor, couldn't it, for Arrival Racing's championship hopes. The team that started off so strongly. They won the first 2 events of the season at Thruxton, and then they didn't score in round 3. They were second in round 4, didn't score in round 5, 6 or 7, and now here they are lining up on the in the staging area for their second attempt now at getting a run in. The safety driver getting the brush out. I've seen a few people asking about what it must be like to sit in one of these cars and drive it, and sort of imagining what a glamorous job it must be. But as you can see there, our safety driver, who is the person that gets the privilege of sitting in this car more than anyone else, also has to get out and do a bit of hard graft sometimes and help clear the track, because we don't have marshals here at the track. That's one interesting thing actually about Roborace compared to traditional motorsports. No marshals manning the corners because there are no drivers to look after. There are no recovery operations needed, really. It can all be handled by the Roborace team. And so when there is dirt and gravel on the track, someone needs to go and clean it up. And so it falls, it will appear, to our safety driver. So earning his money today, that's for sure. Right, Arrival Racing, for the second day in a row, are leaving it all on the line now. This time they did not abort their first run voluntarily, as they did yesterday. They had that spinnaker just joining us. The car spun off the track coming out of the final corner. It was trying to avoid one of the obstacles, I think, and did it a bit too quickly, lost traction, and spun off onto the gravel. They've now got the car checked over. They've got it back in the staging area, and they're going to go again. They've got just less than 3 minutes of their 20-minute window remaining. So as long as they get the lap started before the 3 minutes ticks down to 0, they will be okay, and they'll be able to log a time. If they can log a time, we then need to see how it stacks up against the other teams that have gone. The car is off, it's moving, it's in fully autonomous mode, and the time starts now for Arrival Racing. Round number 8 of season beta of Roborace. Yesterday, that non-finish meant that they have dropped now 600 points, behind SIT, who are the championship leaders. They are, remember, the only team that has not been out yet. So Arrival, once they complete their run, will start the build-up to SIT. And that is the battle that's starting to form for the championship here. But if Arrival keep dropping points, it's going to open the door for other teams maybe to move into that runners-up spot and challenge for the top position. Slightly strange line being taken there through the first sequence of corners. Remember, this first lap is a free lap, so they're not having to deal with that augmented reality of the metaverse. So therefore, in theory, the car should just be taking the quickest racing line. And I'm not a professional racing driver by any means, but I don't think that was the quickest racing line for the first few corners. So I'm not quite sure what was going on there. But anyway, Arrival at least are staying on the black stuff this time and not running out onto the gravel, which, as you can see, it's marked with those white painted lines. This actually serves as the car park for the main speedway when that's in use for a NASCAR race or something. So you can imagine the amount of dirt and rubbish that's been left out in that area. So the car then comes out across the start-finish line. First lap is completed. Rival Racing now head into the metaverse then. So this is where they can see the moving and stationary obstacles then are having to be negotiated. They start trying to collect the loot. Arrival. Oh, now they've got off again. I don't believe it. Arrival have gone off the track, and this time they were only doing about 10 miles an hour, if that. That was not a out of control moment. That was a misjudgment, quite frankly. They were trying to get all of those collectibles that they could get, catch all of the loot, and well, the car has simply driven itself off the road. This is remarkable. Of all the teams you would have said at the start of the season would not do something like this, it was Arrival Racing. You know, we all pointed and laughed when Acronis SIT's car drove itself into the pit wall at Thruxton, but that really is a slightly less dramatic version here that we're seeing happen to Arrival Racing, the team that was scooping up all of the points at the start of the year. And I can tell you their time is ticked down to 0 now. So that is it. They wouldn't be able to restart anyway because it's their second aborted run. But they absolutely don't have time to now. Arrival Racing are going to non-score yet again. And this is a real disaster. This is the third event in a row now that they've not finished. And their grasp of a top 2 position in the championship is starting to slip. Well, one more team to go, and that team is Acronis SIT, and they'll be rubbing their hands with glee back at home now because they know that their nearest championship rivals are not going to score here from round number 8, and SIT are our final remaining team to head out onto the track. We'll have all of the reaction to Arrival's dramatic run and the build-up to our final team in just a few minutes.
All
well,
right.
Corey, that is a big shock there. What's the atmosphere like in at the track? Because everybody must be kind of like looking at each other like, ew.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone's air just kind of went out of the sails here. I'm back in a garage, but just disappointing for that to happen to them for a third round in a row, especially when they have such a bright future ahead in this series. But you know what? I think it's also in due to that they were like Alexey said, he's really going for it. So maybe that had a lot to do with it. They're not in safe mode, as he called it. So yeah, we'll see what happens from here. There's a lot of potential for that team for sure.
And you're going to get to ask Alexey about that shortly, actually. I'm going to be interested to hear what he's got to say, because my understanding was that even if the tactic of going all in didn't quite work for them, it was still going to sort of go to a safe mode just to get them round and get the points. Obviously, something's gone wrong, so we'll let you find out off Alexey what that is when we join him shortly. We're just checking out the Twitch feeds and stuff. Corey, what's been going on there? People have been joining us intermittently throughout the day. What are people saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of activity on there. We have a few new people to Roborace, so welcome. Specifically, Bishop Xman, he's been pretty active on there. He had a couple questions, including he wanted to know what the big tube was when the car's in the pit going into the car. He said it looks like an esky, and actually I had to look that up. I didn't know what an esky was. Apparently, it's a cooler in Australia. It's like a brand of coolers. So I don't know, Matt, you want to take that one?
Well, yeah. Well, I know what an esky is, having been on a couple of boat trips out in Australia, but the one on the on the dev boat, I believe, is to keep the batteries cool, right? Which in Las Vegas,
yeah, I mean, that's what
pretty important.
Yeah, that's what I saw yesterday. They had boxes of dry ice that they were putting into a cooler, which now I know is called an esky in Australia, because, you know, obviously they heat up. So that's what that is doing, is cooling that down. So great question. Another one, Corey, from...
It could be that Reese Smith, the safety driver, has a few beers in in an SD day. You know, when we see him out
Yeah.
on track, they're long days, you know. And that's the
A
cool
question
thing. You
from.
can drink drive because you just hand over to the AI. But anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Well, Arrival might need that after the DNF they got for a third time in a row. So, a question from at Ollie19876. He says, "What's the big Mercedes G-Wagon that he sees on the track?" Which is pretty cool, I must admit.
I can take Reese out onto the track, or rather to pick him up from the start line.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I guess, the safety car, right? So,
Yeah.
I was told, I don't know, you've been around and I haven't. So I was told that it's not always the same car, right? So is it at different rounds? Are you seeing different safety
they
cars?
had Rolls Royces last time. Over in Vegas.
Say that again?
They had Rolls Royces, I think, last time in Vegas.
Oh, right. That's what I heard. Chip yesterday was telling me that it was a Rolls Royce and there was a big sandstorm, and then everyone was freaking out because they didn't want the Rolls Royce to get ruined by the sandstorm. So this could be a thing with Roborace getting really dope cars for the safety vehicles. So we can see where that goes. Speaking of Arrival again, Twitcheroo wanted to know, how will they bounce back from this? I mean, they have had such a promising outlook, but now to get set back so much, like, what do you think we'll see from them moving forward? Okay, well,
with their run, but there is half the season still to go, and I do think that Arrival, we know how good they are. They'll come back from it for sure. I do think they'll keep attacking. Well, maybe we can find out from the horse's mouth, Corey.
he might still have his head in his hands, but but yeah, you guys, please keep asking us these questions on Twitch. We got some more time to go. We have one more team going out there. Acronis SIT is coming up in a bit. So
yeah, and you know, the kind of advantage right now, Corey, for Acronis SIT is that they've seen everybody else run. They know what they've got to do. I mean, effectively, if they repeat yesterday's effort, they're going to win for sure. But they don't even need to do that. So you would like to think that right now, Ilya and all the Acronis SIT guys are probably feeling fairly relaxed and fairly confident about what they've got to do. But on the other hand, season beta is not just about winning, is it? It's about experimenting with new technology. So maybe they'll see it as a different opportunity to think, okay, nothing to lose now. Let's try something new and really push the boat out. So I think Acronis SIT's strategy in this round today is going to be interesting to see.
you can chat with Alexey, see how things went down. All right. Hi. Yep. It's okay. So we're just waiting here for Alexey to come back, give us the scoop on what we think went down, what we think is going to happen. All right, we've got Alexey back on the line. Gosh, what a blow! So sorry to see that result. What do you think? What do you think happened? in that first try? Let's talk about that first.
Yes, so we experienced a steering jerk, quite a huge one. We didn't see it on the simulator, so this is some kind of edge case we faced with. This happened because we constantly improving our path planning algorithms and trying different approaches. And like our latest one looks like it has some kind of corner cases. One of them we just saw.
To your second attempt, you know, earlier you talked about, well, if something happens, we might go into safe mode. Did you guys do that, or did you opt to just go for it again?
No, we put a little bit safer settings in terms of speed profile. But while we doing the second attempt, we found that the issue was not with speed profile itself. It was with like path planning algorithm. And we saw the trajectory we wanted to follow was not quite smooth enough in these cases. And again, we didn't face with this type of cases on the simulator, and this is just the first time we see it.
Well, I guess it's you know, you're live and learn, and we try to advance, and that's what this is all about. But you guys have such promise as a team, and everyone is so excited about what you guys are doing. So what's important to you guys? Is it getting from A to B? Is it winning this season? And how do you jump forward after this big setback?
Yeah, so actually we don't want to have like super reliable but old-fashioned algorithm and old-fashioned pipeline. We already have this from the previous events, and we can easily launch it on this event and be super happy in terms of stability of our software. But we always try to push ourselves to the limits, and we want to be a better version of ourselves. I mean, our systems, in terms of our system. So that's why it happened, and that's why we just constantly. Couple of previous runs we just faced with this kind of issues.
So it doesn't seem like you're discouraged. It seems like it's just a learning curve for you.
Yeah, so this is this is really good data for us to investigate. I know that it looks like we have some issues and so on, but we an R&D project, and this happens, let's say.
Great. Well, I mean, that's what we're all about, like we said. So I'm excited to see how you guys fix the issues, and on to round 9. Best of luck as we move forward. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So 5 teams have completed their runs in round 8 of Roborace season beta. 1 more to go, and we've saved the best till last. Certainly this season so far anyway. Acronis SIT have really been the force to reckon with. And they're up next. Let's take a look at one of the fastest robot racers in the competition.
From the Research Center at the Schaffhausen Institute of Technology comes Acronis SIT Autonomous. Acronis are the leading provider of AI-powered cyber protection to global sports teams and are supporting the Swiss-based Research Center in their entrance to Roborace Season Beta. This powerful matchup are working hard to achieve maximum pace. Acronis SIT have brought plenty of shocks and surprises to their first season, taking race wins and battling for position at the top of the championship table. But only time will tell if they can stay ahead long enough to win the title overall.
So that's Team Acronis SIT Autonomous. Let's catch up with the team principal now, Ilya Shimchik. Ilya, good to see you again. We spoke to you a little bit earlier on about your plans for round 8 today, but having seen what's happened already out there, I'm talking specifically, of course, about Arrival Racing DNF for them. Does that change your strategy at all now for your run?
Actually, not at all. I mean, we have the same strategy as yesterday, try to show the best that we can. And considering, so we know our software from inside and we understand that there could be some pitfalls, and we are trying to maybe, we'll not push to the limits of performance, but we'll try to put to the limits of like a handling and avoiding the obstacles, etc. And also, it's not only our team here, so there is also other teams there. So Graz showing good results, MIT good results, so showing as well. PoliMOVE just like came during this round and already showing their good performance. So we need to show good result as well. So we are not only competing with a rival.
Margins, isn't it, as well, Ilya? Sometimes to us as kind of novices that are from the outside looking in, a big time gap could actually be a difference of some very small changes to the coding. So you guys have got to be on your toes all the time.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. So yeah, small changes can bring a big gap, and we're trying to do small incremental changes each time and try to be carefully implementing these changes and putting those changes into production mode. And also, as you know, so all teams has quite lack of testing. So we tested just one time, like we had like 3 hours of testing after the previous event, so there is not a lot of chance to improve the performance of our software. Comparing to the round, so had only 24 hours, we discovered and we analyzed our logs that we have from yesterday round, and we saw some imperfections, and we modified a bit what we can to improve. We improve, and today we are going to see which place we can take with those improvements and which time we will show.
Okay, and just one final question for you, Ilya. We were talking about small changes there making a big difference. One small change is the distance for the metaverse objects to appear from 150 meters to 100. How difficult a challenge has that been for you, or has it just been a case of making a slight adjustment?
So actually, I believe that the distance right now is 100. So it's reduced compared to the previous round. But in terms of our software, so we've worked on improving the performance of our software, so to calculate the trajectories more efficiently and faster. So we did it. But in other terms, it's probably quite the same software stack compared to the previous round.
Okay, well, thank you, Ilya. Pleasure to be joined by you as always. Maybe we'll see you again before the day is out, because this is your opportunity to wrap up another win. So we'll leave you to it. Round 8, here we go. Good luck.
Thank you, Matt.
Corey, I don't think we can hear you. Are you on mute? This is the conversation we all have to have in this age of Zoom calls, isn't it? Have you muted yourself? No, I think she's definitely gone. She's definitely gone. Everything's going really well today. Everything's going to plan. We've had no problems at all behind the scenes. And this has been just the perfect day. And it's about to end with a perfectly unpredictable final run, I think, because Acronis SIT are the final team that's going to head out onto the circuit. And this will be the final 5 laps of the afternoon. Thank you, everyone at home, for sticking around right to the end of the day, or night indeed, wherever you are. It's about 10:10 here in the UK, and we're still revved up and raring to go, because this is the team that have been in form over the last couple of months, really. They really hit their stride midway through season beta, and now Acronis SIT are very much the team to beat. They're the championship leaders by 600 points, and they are looking now to extend that margin with the rival Racing's problems. This is looking really good, not only now for another event win, but possibly Acronis SIT could be the favourites for the championship. Yesterday, they had basically a perfect run, and I find it really interesting that Ilya Shimchik there said that he saw some imperfections after yesterday's run, because to us, it looked absolutely spot on. In round 7, SIT managed to take the victory, They set the fastest clear time by around 12 seconds, collected 52 obstacles, which is over 100 seconds worth of bonus time that they saved. And most importantly, they had 0 penalty points, 0 obstacles, and that was the second event in a row that Acronis SIT have managed that. And I think I'm right in saying they're the only team that have managed a perfect score in that respect. So after winning that 6th round, they're really the form team heading into the second half of the season. And as we can see now, the car is in the staging area. Just to confirm, again, if this is your first time tuning into Roborace, no, you're not going mad. Yes, that is a different DevBot 2.0. This is a car that is liveried up in the Acronis SIT livery. It's just for sponsorship reasons. The car underneath is absolutely identical to the other DevBot. There is no advantage for this team in having a different car. It just gives us something a little bit different to look at, and proves that there are more than one of these DevBots in existence. I think there are about 6 of them, I was told at the start of the season, in existence. All of them worth getting on for £1 million. And well, let's see what all of that money can buy you, because the car is off. It's on to its first of 5 flying laps. And Acronis SIT looking to improve on yesterday's performance. They don't need to, strictly speaking. If they were to put in exactly the same time and score as they did yesterday, it would still be enough to win today. But we have seen other teams getting better, haven't we? MIT managed to improve their total time by quite a big amount, actually. So too did PoliMOVE. So if that trend continues, you might expect to see Acronis SIT set an even faster time than yesterday anyway, even if they don't necessarily need to push it that hard. And this is where the human element of this sport comes into play. I know we talk about robots and AI and autonomous vehicles a lot, but there is a team sat at home watching. They program the car to attack this course in a certain way, and I just wonder whether Acronis SIT, having seen the issues that have befallen Arrival Racing again, and having crunched all of the numbers and realised that actually they just need to rinse and repeat what they did yesterday, I wonder if maybe they'll take a slightly more cautious approach, because the last thing they need to do is slide off the road and invalidate their run. They need to make sure they bag these 300 championship points, because that will put them at the better part of 1,000 points clear. It would be 900 points clear of Arrival Racing, if my maths are correct. So it's definitely going to be important for them to try and get the win. And this is the thing that will make the difference, really. The metaverse, the virtual reality portion of the event. Can they repeat their perfect score from the previous 2 events? That would be absolutely incredible and a real sign of the work that they've done. Remember, this is the car at the start of the year that drove itself into a concrete wall the second that it accelerated off the start-finish line. They were always quick, were Acronis SIT, but they really struggled with the driving line and with the virtual reality avoidance, and it's something that they worked on over the winter, and they've come back now in 2021 as arguably the best team when it comes to avoiding these obstacles and picking up the loot and saving time. You can see they've already started off well. 1 loot item in the bag, that's 2 seconds saved, and no penalties at the moment. What was their loot score yesterday? Let me remind myself. They got 52 of the collectibles yesterday, so you might have expected them to get more than 1 on this first lap, although I have to say I've seen far more obstacles than I have collectibles on this first lap. There's a few bonuses, and they put them in the loot bag, so 3 of those now in that bag. 6 seconds saved as they go now to their 3rd lap of the run. And remember, it's only that first lap, isn't it, that is a free lap. All of the other 4 laps, they have to deal with the metaverse. I still, by the way, haven't seen a convincing answer as to what those dynamic obstacles are, the moving obstacles, but I did learn something actually from reading Twitch chat earlier on, which is that the dynamic obstacles are the same size as the cars themselves. They do simulate virtual cars on the track, which, as we've touched upon a few times throughout the day, that's kind of where we're heading with Roborace. We want to get more than 1 car out on the track and even put virtual cars on the track to race with the real cars. And this is kind of a very basic sort of entry-level simulation of what that could look like. And you can see there that Acronis SIT have successfully once again avoided those dynamic objects as they go through the far end of the course. Also has real-world applications, as we also have spoken about today, when it comes to negotiating traffic out on the highway. So these moving obstacles are possibly the most important element that's been thrown at the teams throughout the entire course of the season. So more loot in the bag. We're going to be up to 16, I think, by the end of the first lap. Yes, we are. So that is just in excess now of half a minute saved, and still no penalties. They've only got to survive 2 more laps now without getting any obstacles, and it will be another perfect run. The other question then remains, can they beat their tally of 52 collectibles that they got yesterday? That gave them a total time save of 1 minute and 44 seconds, and it meant that their clear time, which yesterday was the only time underneath 7 minutes, was then sort of shrank even more to just under 5.25 minutes as their total time. Incidentally, actually, that clear time yesterday of 6:58 has been beaten today by Autonomous Racing Graz. So, officially speaking, the fastest team that we've had out there so far today is ARG, and they too had to really slow down for some of these dynamic obstacles, didn't they? And look, SIT having the same trouble, just trying to figure out when it's safe to overtake, waiting for the straight, because that's obviously a lower risk part of the circuit to pass, and there it goes. So as soon as it felt that it was safe to do so, it floors the throttle and goes past them, but they're not willing, are they, to risk clipping one of those. And that really, I think, is the best tactic, because when each of those obstacles are worth 30 seconds, that can completely destroy your run. If you hit even just one, certainly 2 of them, then you're probably not looking at a race-winning time. So that is probably a sensible approach. It's not maybe as spectacular as we've seen from other teams, but it is in its own way, because they really do negotiate those obstacles flawlessly. Right, on to the final lap. 25 bonuses now in the bag, which is 50 seconds, but they're not on course, are they, to match the score from yesterday? With only 1 lap to go, they're not going to double that loot tally, so it looks as though it's going to be maybe a slightly lower scoring run, but as long as their pace is good enough, should be okay. The lowest number of penalties that we've had today were set by MIT, who hit just 2 obstacles and 37 collectibles. And actually, I'm not even sure that SIT are going to get to 37, are they? So it goes to show the step forward that MIT have taken, but maybe a bit of a step backwards here for SIT. I say that, and of course they've still got half a lap to go, and they are starting to get a few more of those collectibles now. Blasts in between the 2 blimps, I think, is the best name that I've seen for them. I'll go with blimps for now until someone corrects me. Blimps with faces, things you never thought you'd see at a motor race, eh? But that is Roborace for you, and SIT are the kings of Roborace at the moment. They're coming into the final corner. Out of it they will come, and as long as they avoid the fate that befell their big rivals, Arrival Racing, it should be another clean run. They do avoid... what's going on? The car slowed, and I thought was going to stop a bit too soon. We've seen that happen in the past, but they do sprint across the line. And, well, the clear time is a 6:55, which I reckon provisionally is going to be quite easily the fastest that we've seen so far. But look at that, 38 bonuses, not as high as yesterday, but it is another perfect score as far as the obstacles are concerned. No time will be added on to their clear time, which means that it almost certainly will be enough for Acronis SIT Autonomous to take yet another win, their 3rd victory in a row. And as I said at the start, that will now move them to nearly 1,000 points ahead of anybody else. It's looking like their championship to lose, but it ain't over till it's over. All of the reaction to our final run of the day coming your way in just a few minutes.
Well, there you go,
There we
guys. Victorious once again. Acronis SIT will come to the confirmation of that result in a moment. What do you make of that, Corey? What was it like from trackside?
Well, I mean, it's exciting to see them do such a peak performance for sure. You know, it wasn't quite as fast as yesterday, but it was still really fast. I'm still everyone out of the water, and it's really to see. So I'm happy for them. I know some people got some improvement, but great result for Acronis SIT for sure. They got it.
Not quite as fast as time yesterday, but still very, very impressive and more than enough to do the job today. Let's have a look at the results then. It's 6:52.8 was the elapsed time with 38 collectibles, 0 obstacles, for a winning time today of 5 minutes 36.8 seconds. So as I said, slightly slower than yesterday by 22 seconds, but still plenty good enough to take the victory today. Should we bring in Chip Pankow and see what he's got to say about it all, Corey?
Yeah, let's bring the main man in.
Confirmation of fan traffic very briefly. Yes, another word for SIT. Well, as we wait for Chip, Corey, we're looking forward to. Obviously, he's going to be back in Vegas once again. It's going to come a little bit too early, I think, for us to get out there and join you. But what what's one thing that's really stood out to you this weekend that you've really enjoyed and you're looking forward to getting back and doing again?
Well, what I think is really neat about, again, having Roborace an actual home now is that everyone to kind of like really dig their feet in and get settled and really be able to focus on the task at hand. Like, obviously, we've had some issues on so many different layers of these two rounds, and now just like the teams have stuff to work on, so do we. And you know, Roborace season beta is it will only go up from here. So. That's going to be neat to see the development of this brand and this series and this race.
Yeah, well, one of those issues I think is your audio, Corey. I wasn't sure if it was just me, but it sounds like we've got another gremlin in there. So we'll reboot Corey and bring in Chip, who I'm sure is pretty happy with how things have gone out there on the ground in Las Vegas, because in terms of the racing over the past 2 days, it's been a roaring success. We've seen some fast times, we've seen some drama, we've seen cars sliding off track, and we've seen some of the big hitters struggle to get to the end of their run. We've also seen a step up performance, I think, from across this, and we're now really starting to see the limits of what the DevBot is capable of. And also encouraging to hear from Ilya Shimchik that it is a long way fulfilling the car's potential. So I'm sure that Chip is only too happy with what they've been able to get through there at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's been a busy few weeks for them since the last event there, but I'm sure quite good as well to have one location to keep everything on and keep everything building from. Sounds like it's not just Corey who's having trouble with her connection there. So here we go. We're back. Chip, thank goodness you're with us. I was just saying, I don't know if you could hear me, but you guys must be really happy with how things have gone on the ground there. We've had our problems with the TV production side, but certainly it looks like on the track the racing was pretty hot.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome the last 2 days. This event, Mission 3.1 was like, one more time with feeling. From Mission 3. As you mentioned, we've done a lot of testing between Mission 3 and Mission 3.1, and I think you can see it in the results. Great competition, great runs, all the way up and down the field. I mean, I think the last place run in each of the competitions would have stood up and done pretty well just a few weeks ago. So yeah, super happy with the way it's gone. We always want to see progression, and we want to see teams improving, and that's exactly what we saw. It's exactly what we saw today.
Chip, it's been awesome being here this weekend and getting to know you guys and getting to know Roborace, and now seeing the teams at this point in the race. What do you think? Like, who's been the most surprising to you, or who are you most proud of at this point? Seeing their progression.
There were a lot of great performances today. I mean, hats off to PoliMOVE. I mean, they just started onboarding, I think, 4 weeks ago. They've been super impressive. From a running fast lap standpoint, they're right there with the best of them. We're throwing virtual objects at them. That's all new for them. They're trying to deal with that, but they're doing a really great job. And I'm really curious to see what their progress is going to be. Right now and today and yesterday, Acronis SIT is almost in a different league. They really have a good handle on how to overtake the obstacles that they're not supposed to hit, and really aggressive running. I mean, it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, and great as well, isn't it, Chip, to see a team that are planning to take part in the first full season, just making that call at this stage and saying, okay, we might not have everything quite as we want it in place, but let's just go and do season beta anyway and get that data and take part in these fantastic events.
Yeah, pretty courageous, because as you know, that can all go horribly wrong. And they're like, no, let's do it. We got this, and it's great to see.
This weekend, as well as PoliMOVE, was of course Acronis SIT, and we can bring in the team principal now, Ilya Shimchik, who must be really pleased with. How are you guys reflecting on that one?
Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, just saying congratulations, because you guys have really nailed it this weekend. That run actually not quite as quick as yesterday, but still more than enough for the win. How are you feeling?
Feeling completely satisfied and great. It's a pleasure to be here and to show good results, and we're happy with that we have this opportunity to got the first place here. Yeah, we show maybe not so fast as yesterday, but the configuration of the track, configuration of obstacles is quite different. So it's maybe not very good to compare yesterday's result with today's result, because the obstacles different, collectibles different. So it's not very like an apple to apple comparison.
It's awesome for you guys to come so far ahead of everyone else. But do you kind of wish that Arrival had a different result? I feel like you guys have a bit of a back and forth with who's in the lead all the time. Does that help you in, improving constantly as well?
Yeah, of course, we are looking for how other teams are performing, because we are last at this round. We were last at this round, and we were looking how other team performing. And of course, we would like to see the Arrival and to finish their time and show their time, because we would like to compare our result with other teams as well. So, and we wish good luck to Arrival to show the good performance next time.
Well, Chip, I don't know if you've got a trophy this week to make a presentation, but perhaps you can make a verbal presentation to personal congrats to the guys.
Yeah, Ilya, I mean, great job. I actually went and watched your final run just now in race control, so I could watch all the telemetry and the data, and I mean, really impressive. It's kind of got me excited to get to the point where we have multiple cars on the track, because you guys definitely have overtaking figured out, and I know that's exactly what you're working on. So it's one of the first things that's gotten me excited about getting there, because I'm always worried about our babies, about our cars, but really spectacular run. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Chip. We're also looking forward to achieve this Wheel 2 racing.
We'll get there.
Stuff. Thank you, Ilya. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Ilya. Yeah, there won't be much overtaking to be done, though, if they keep dominating from... Well, on that note, Corey, Andy, a challenging couple of days, but great fun nonetheless, as always, on Roborace.
Yeah, thank you, guys, for letting me be part of the club, at least for now. But it's been awesome. Andy, you killed it. And congrats to everyone who raced round 7, round 8, mission 3.1. Glad I got to be a part of it.
How did you find it, Andy? There were some real highlights there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it in a strange kind of way. I quite enjoyed mayhem and chaos and madness, and I've got a little taste of that over the last few hours. But yeah, great fun. I enjoy these events more and more with everyone we do, and seeing now as we get into the business end of the season, this championship battle developing between Arrival and SIT, and now other teams. You know, MIT have got their first podium result. We've got PoliMOVE who have come straight in at podium in their first attempt. I mean, that is incredible. So I'm really excited about the future, and excited as well to see the reaction of people on Twitch chat. You know, some people I saw today even saying that they prefer this to traditional racing. If you're enjoying it now, you're really going to love what Roborace has planned for the future.
Here. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Andy. Thanks once again, Corey. Hey, one more thing, Andy. Has your neighbour stopped drilling now? It's the late night.
Of all the times, 9 p.m. it is here in the UK when they started drilling. I'll be having words in the morning.
Interesting sound effects to the Roborace background. Guys, thanks once again. It's been a real pleasure to share the air with you tonight. And I'll see you again, hopefully very soon. And for you guys at home, thank you so much for joining us at round 8 of Roborace Season Beta. That's it for this one. We're back in a month with 9 and 10, so be sure to check us out live on Twitch for more autonomous racing. But as the sun goes down in Las Vegas, the city that never sleeps, the after party is only just a get-go for Acronis SIT, I'm sure. Stay online with us now to see some music made by Roborace, and we'll see you at the after party. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
SIT Autonomous. That's the first time I would argue that I've seen one of these cars really look like it's controlled by this. First time really they got me properly excited. just here, and unfortunately see you and not unable to work today.